We're live, by the way.
We are?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I guess. I think. I don't know.
Hello, everyone who will be here.
Is there anybody here?
I'm not sure. They will be.
Yeah. I still haven't. I've noticed the people who have liked my picture, the Twilight ones are mostly women. That's pretty funny.
I like I said, I really don't care. I like the movie.
It is what it is, dude.
I don't know why people get all like up in arms about it. Like,
it's like a rite of passage. It's almost like, well, if you like that movie, you should have your horror. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what Brad wrote on my thing. You should have your horror card taken away. Take it. I don't give a fuck.
I don't know why. I mean,
I'm not worried.
Like I said, I truly feel that most of these people haven't watched the movie. I do.
Maybe. Or maybe, that's kind of like a date movie.
There are people that I know specifically who have said they hate that movie that I know have not watched the movie.
Really?
Let's just put it that way. It's just one of those movies that people, like I said, it's like everyone else says it, so I have to say it too.
Yeah. Big surprise on that one, right?
Hey, Royce.
Hey, Royce. Yeah, he commented. That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always supported us, so I appreciate that.
Definitely.
I gotta find Season of the Witch. I don't remember it getting as much hate as Steve said, but it's not a very well liked, I guess, for lack of a better word.
We're doing The Wicker Man too with Cage, so.
For Positive Spin, right?
Positive Spin, yeah.
Did I pull that one? I think I pulled that one. I hope I did. I pulled Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
So I'm saying it might be a good thing to do. Like 1 week we do the Tuesday can be the Season of the Witch, and the Saturday can be the Wicker Man.
That would be fun.
Like a Nicolas Cage week.
Hey, Royce. I don't know if I said hello to you before, but
you did. But now you say it again. That's fine.
Yeah. I saw the commercial for Kevin Bacon and his daughter again.
Oh, you saw it?
I was like, that motherfucker. And Karen was like, what? I said, that's the bitch. That's his daughter. She will forever be ingrained in my memory.
I didn't even know he had a daughter.
I didn't even know he had a daughter. That's what she said.
I didn't realize that was her. Whenever I saw that commercial, I was like, oh my God. Like, now it makes sense.
Well, I mean, good for her, I guess, because the movie has been popular, but bad for her because I don't like it. So it is what it is, I guess.
Yep. Royce, I'm looking at it right now, buddy.
What's that?
He sent a request for a Positive Spin movie.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't announced yet. Royce, we actually will be doing that movie soon enough, but not for Positive Spin, but it's going to be a Positive Spin-off series. Well, we're going to be announcing it soon anyway, so anybody who hears this, who gives a shit. We're going to be doing a series called Controversial View, where we're going to be watching and discussing movies that are considered controversial for one reason or another, whether it be the subject matter or stuff that happened behind the scenes or on set. Basically, movies that get negative reaction for being controversial or that really get no reaction because people don't talk about them because they're almost taboo. So, yeah, we'll be doing a Serbian film for Controversial View.
That's funny. I just showed you.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before we went live. We got our copies out and ready to go.
Yeah, I have it in my hand.
Royce, I actually have the screener for a Serbian film, which is the only truly fully uncut version of the film. So if you think it's extreme now, which to be honest, it never really affected me.
Nah,
Maybe I'm just sick or something. I mean, I get it. Oh my God, it's the controversial subject matter, and you know what happens, the whole twist at the end. But you know what? It's a movie. I don't know. It doesn't bug me. I've seen.
right. Just
I
like
I'm just one of those people. I can separate the fact when something's a movie and something isn't.
right, and that's why the first one kind of hit me a little differently.
Yeah, yeah. But that's why I'm
Um,
looking forward to talking about a Serbian film because it's true. It's very very controversial, and I
yeah.
agree. So it is. It's well made, Royce. Yeah.
I
So
don't have the true uncut version of it,
nobody does. I mean, other than the screening one is the only one.
so we're gonna have to watch the one that's a little bit cut, unless you.
The only one I have is the screener, but we'll figure it out. I only have the screener. I don't have a regular copy of it.
Yeah.
Only because my thing was I was waiting for it to come out with that fully uncut one and never did. So I was like, all right, well, I ended up making my own artwork for my screener, and that's my copy.
You showed it to me without the artwork.
Yeah.
You had it in that CD tray or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then because it never got re-released fully uncut, I just made my own artwork and called it a day.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I need Joe's version of Hellraiser 2. Did you make artwork for that?
I did not.
Really?
I can. I mean, I didn't do it because in mine, I put mine on a VHS tape.
Really?
Yep, and then I put it in one of those those hard black cases that has like the little not like the
A
full
little strip
insert,
there.
the little strip.
Yes.
Exactly. And then I like wrote it out as if it's like like an actual like
Bootleg.
work print copy. That's how
That's
I made
exactly what I did. I
That's
put
how
it
I
in a
made mine.
DVD case.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll just leave it like that then. And I have like a piece of paper going through the DVD case where the plastic and all is.
Yeah.
That says Hellraiser 2 Joe's version.
Yeah, because I didn't even make artwork for the Phantasm either. I did the same thing
That's
for them.
another one. I think I still have that down here. I haven't even put that in a DVD case yet. But by the way, I have to send you some DVD cases. And
hey, Brad.
I forgot to put Dick Tracy in the in your box. But next time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, to clean it. Yeah. I've been in the mood to watch that ever since we talked about it.
Me too.
I almost put it on the other day.
Look, Brad.
Royce, I do both. Sometimes if I'm in the mood to make a menu for a movie, I'll make a menu. Sometimes I just burn to the disc. Ask Jason. I send him movies sometimes. Sometimes they have menus. Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes, yeah, you're right. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. But they all fucking look great. They all look great.
It just depends on how much time I feel like putting into it.
Very much appreciated too, because I don't have Peacock, I don't have Hulu, and right now we are representing from Tubi, Peacock.
Yeah, let's talk about
Hulu.
that. But before we get started, so we're gonna be ranking 30 horror movies released last year in 2022.
Yep.
A lot of the movies, unfortunately, have not and will not be getting official physical media releases because of the way everything is. But because of our rule, we only rank and review things that we own on physical media. So
there we go.
I made homemade copies for both of us with artwork and all that. Some of them have menus and whatnot. And obviously, if they ever get officially released, we'll get those. But for now, our copies will hold us over. And we have representation from Netflix originals, Hulu originals, Tubi originals, Disney Channel originals, Peacock originals. So yeah, we got them all in there represented, which I think is pretty cool.
Just about everything.
Yeah.
Hulu.
Yeah. So we're gonna be doing that. So we're gonna be doing. We just chose 30 that we wanted to do. I mean, we can't watch everything. But I think we picked a good list. I think we have a good list. I think we pretty much covered all the more popular titles, and threw a few in there too that we wanted to do specifically, that I think need more attention.
Special I did watch a few that Joe didn't watch, and I'm sure he watched a few that I didn't watch.
Yeah.
I did watch Good Night Mommy, which everyone seems to hate. Thank you, Joe. I watched the American version of that, and I actually liked it. Now I have to go back and watch the other one because I can't remember how the original ended.
The original ended same way it began,
Yeah.
giving away the fucking twist at the first 5 seconds.
No, there's something else. I think this one went in a different direction at the end. I think. I also watched We're All Going to the World's Fair. That was on Hulu, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was on Hulu. Well, it's been released. That actually got a release from one of the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels.
Yep.
So if you're interested in picking that up, I think it's Utopia,
Um,
and it is available on Amazon. I know that because I looked it up.
Royce, yes, Megan is 2022, but because we don't have that one and it is getting an official release, that
Yeah.
one will not be on our list.
No.
The same with Christmas Bloody Christmas. As much
Yeah.
as we wanted to do it, it's not out until March on Blu-ray. And because it's getting an official release, I don't make copies of stuff that has official releases because, that's why I don't consider them bootlegs. They're unofficial copies that are sort of there to only be temporary until an official copy comes.
Well, you don't have Shudder anyway, do you?
I don't, but either way, it's getting a physical
Yeah.
release. So, you know what I mean? We're gonna wait for that. It's not one that I would make a copy
Katie.
of because we're getting an official release.
And Dark Glasses, we were going to include that on our list.
Hey, Katie.
But that came out. That's coming out this week.
Yeah, it's coming out this week.
And we didn't want to wait too long to do this because everyone's pretty much already done it.
And Dark Glasses we're gonna do for something else.
Yes.
So we are going to be talking about that. And honestly, Christmas Bloody Christmas we'll probably be doing for 12 days this year.
Well, we'll also be doing it for something else too.
Yes. Yeah. I just realized what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be talking about both of those anyway. But yes, to answer your original question, Royce, Megan is 2022 film. But again, because it's not getting it's getting an official release not until March. We didn't include that one. I did watch it. I did a review of it. But yeah, it's not going to be on this ranking.
That's right, you did.
Yeah, I did it. I have a screener of it.
And I did. This is going to sound weird, but I watched The Watcher as well.
Yeah, Brad. Yeah, I mean,
that didn't do much for me.
We considered doing a couple that haven't been out yet, but you know how we are. We like to have them in hand. Yeah, Royce, I think it's going to be on the physical media release.
What's that?
The director's cut of Megan.
Really?
Yeah, the director already said it. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's the rub right there. It should have been the director's cut from the very beginning.
I liked Megan. I don't know if you remember my review.
I did.
I liked it, but I don't know. It wasn't anything special. I think there was some really corny things in it.
Yeah.
It just. I feel like
would it have been more hard hitting if it was maybe the director's cut where it was a lot bloodier?
Yes and no. It's not so much even that I have an issue with. It's that there are certain things that happen all right, it's in the trailers and stuff. So like the scenes, like she dances, like she does like these weird fucking dances.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's trying too hard to be hip. Like I don't like stuff like that. Like it just seems too it reminds me of like a TikTok video. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
But
like,
I mean, think about it though. She's a program, and that's probably what's been programmed in her. You know what I mean?
I get it, but it just takes you out of it a little bit. Like when she does that like TikTok dance as she's chasing somebody down to kill them. So
yeah, fuck that.
It seems silly. It was if they had used that scene like earlier in the movie where she's just having fun with the girl. That's one thing I think it would have worked better. Is the fact that she's fucking dancing down the hole as she's chasing to kill them. It seemed just too corny to me.
See, now that's gonna bother me probably when I watch it.
That was my issue with it. Yeah, it was too I was like, really? They're doing this? There was stuff that I loved about it. There was a few things that there's like there's a good scene when they're in the woods and it was shot really well and it was a cool scene. There's some good stuff in there, but I don't know. Had we ranked it in this list out of our 30, it would have been in my bottom 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It
We
definitely would
both
have.
had a hard time with some of these films because this has been such a good year.
But that's the thing. That's the thing, Brad. The Child's Play remake, to me, I loved the Child's Play remake compared to Megan.
I haven't seen Megan yet, so you
Megan,
can't include me in
honestly,
that.
Megan is so much like the Child's Play remake in the way that it goes with the whole AI and stuff like that.
Hey, Mr.
Yeah,
Bones.
but Child's Play was done so much better.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, so
Hey,
I'm looking forward to watching it. And the weird part is I'll probably never watch the cut that you watched.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I liked it enough where when it comes out, I'm gonna get it on Blu-ray. It won't be a day one buy probably, unless I'm already there getting something else. Like if it comes out the same day as something else, then maybe.
Yeah.
Like say Christmas Bloody Christmas comes out the same day, then I'd grab them both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll grab them, but I'll grab them both because I'm there, kind of thing. But I'm
Yeah.
not gonna rush to the store to get Megan. Whereas a movie like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, like when that movie gets released, I'm gonna be there like that Tuesday morning grabbing that because I want that first day.
Okay. That brings me to the next thing. Hey, do you get emails from Umbrella?
No.
Oh, come on, Joe. Okay. They did, and I guess that explains a lot because they did a really awesome Terrifier 2 edition. But they also are doing a really awesome Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey edition as well. That looks like a storybook.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
It's
got the real innocent cover and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So kids are going to pick that up and be like traumatized for life. And I love every minute of it.
I know here it's going to be ITN that releases it.
Yeah, I know.
Because I've been talking to the composer of the movie, and I asked him specifically about a physical release, and he said, "Yeah, like Walmart's going to want to have that on the shelves. ITN is the distributor, so
maybe. I don't know. It's a children's. Well, first of all, Walmart doesn't really sell movies anymore.
I think it's the point. The whole Walmart is ITN's biggest like seller
company.
Yeah. So they have like a deal with ITN. They pretty much release everything ITN comes out with. So
you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
When I was getting Mill Creek stuff, most of that was ITN movies, so I wouldn't have had to pay for it. And I probably would have gotten it before most of the other people.
Yeah.
So, but Mill Creek can blow me.
I had a blast with it. It's again, it's a $15,000 budget, and people are talking about it like it's a fucking big budget movie. Like it's annoying to me that people do that.
I don't even get started.
I know. I really don't. But it is annoying to me. Again, I was talking to the composer for the original music for it, and he was saying it. He's like, he said it sucks that so many people are going to the IMDb boards with these negative reviews of it, and he's like, this was like a work of love of $15,000 worth, and I think they did a great job with it, and obviously it did well enough. The fact that now they're getting funded more than 5 times the budget for the sequel because this is before it was even officially released. So obviously, the distributors saw something that they liked in it. Can't be that bad. People are a bunch of friggin' whiners.
Like Monty said, I'm sure you and I will like it. I guess he didn't watch your review because you already do like it, and I'm sure I'll be right in there as well.
Like I said, I would be shocked if you didn't, because you appreciate slashers like that. Like it's a low budget slasher, but it's a low budget slasher that you can tell they used the budget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there are some low budget slashers, and you're like, well, where the hell did even that much money go?
The costumes alone had to have cost a mint.
Yeah,
they look good.
It looks good.
Yeah, they look good. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've seen the commercials to the point where I'm kind of surprised.
It's like I said, it's just a fun turn your brain off kind of slasher, but it's cool how they made it work, because again, is even though I was excited when I first heard the idea, I was like, that's a cool idea, that's unique. I was still like, how are they gonna make it work? And then I saw the images that were released, and I was like, it looks pretty cool. Then I saw the trailer and I was like, okay. And then seeing the movie, it was like, damn it, they made it work.
Yes, ITN is the same one that did Leprechaun's Game, and they've done a lot of other subpar films. But that's just a distributor. And what do we always say? I mean, you're getting caught in your own trap there.
Like Wild Eye.
Yes.
Bingo.
Wild Eye is just a distributor. They're not responsible for the content of the films.
You got some absolute gems. So
yeah, we've gotten some absolute gems from them. So just keep that in mind.
yeah, same with ITN. I mean, it just depends. I mean, and I say that in my Wild Eye
I've
videos.
gotten a couple from them.
In my Wild Eye videos. I mean, you have even Vinegar Syndrome. Okay, Vinegar Syndrome has released some movies that a lot of people would consider to be crap.
Yes.
But here you have like these ultra special editions of these movies that are considered trash. And, you know, it's cool. I'd rather have them get releases than not at all.
Hey, Christopher. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Chris. No, I said it must be good. Yeah, because they greenlit it and they're giving it a much bigger budget, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think Leprechaun's Game sequel got a 6-7 times the budget of the first movie for the sequel.
Actually, I think there's 2 or 3 of them now.
Yeah.
I have the first one. I still never watched it yet. I mean, after Brad kind of ripped it to pieces, I was like,
I never got that.
I found it at a thrift store, and I was like, you know, I'll watch it if it's any good.
Hey, it's coming up March next month.
Well, maybe then I'll do it for that. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not looking forward to watching it, but it is what it is. So
nice, Chris. All right, you want to get started on the ranking? We got 30 to get through here.
Ooh.
We got 12 people.
All head wrecked.
All right, so just a reminder to everybody in the chat now, we are going to be ranking 30 films, horror films that were released last year. All 2022 horror movies that we considered to be horror movies. We dropped a couple from our original list. We added some, so we're going to do 30.
Yep.
Again, they're all movies that we have physical copies of, whether they are official or unofficial, because if not, we wouldn't be including them.
Right.
You also have to keep in mind that not only have to be movies that we own physically, but also they have to be movies that we've obviously seen. So if you say, "Oh, how come this isn't included?" Maybe we just haven't seen it. So we'll let you know as the night goes on. And also, as always, this is just our personal rankings.
Yep.
You know, we I know I do. I know you do as well. We base our personal rankings on a lot of different things. You know, mainly for me is rewatchability. You know, there may be movies on this list that I may consider to be a better film objectively.
Right.
Sometimes, not always. Sometimes that's the case. But there may be movies that I just prefer to watch that are above it because it just may be more rewatchable. I may find it more entertaining.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just because it's a rewatchable movie for whatever reason. So that being said, we're going to start with number 30 as we do and count our way down to our favorite horror movie of 2022. So number
I just read his comment.
What's that? Okay.
Christopher's.
All right. Well, stay tuned. Our number 30 picks are the same.
Yes.
So number 30, Jason's going to hold it up, and it is Smile. Smile was, I would say, and I think you would agree, I would say by far our least favorite of this list.
It is the only film that is on our list that I actually do not like 100%.
Yeah, like when we were watching this together, because again, we watched all these movies together now. Some of these we watched more than once, whether by ourselves or, you know, together. Even a couple of them we watched twice together. But while we were watching Smile, literally, we could not wait for it to end. We could not wait for it to end.
Yeah,
I hate saying that about anything. I really do.
Too.
I mean, obviously, we both bought it on Blu-ray. We were excited to see it because we had heard some really good things about it. I think it has like a 6.6 rating on IMDb. It's pretty highly rated for a horror movie. I think we were like 20 minutes in, and we were like, "Jesus, is this going to get better?" And then an hour in, we were like, "Oh my God, what is happening?" And then like an hour and 40 minutes, and it was still like, "Come on."
I had faith up until like the last 10, maybe last 10, 20 minutes. Something did happen in the last 10 or 20 minutes, but by that time, in my opinion, it was too little too late.
You know what I don't get
Um,
too is that it obviously borrows heavily from It
Yes.
Follows and Truth or Dare.
It's
And
basically It Follows with a little sprinkle of Truth or Dare.
yes,
Yeah.
and Truth or Dare got so much hate, which is why it's going to be coming up for Positive Spin, by the way.
Yeah.
Truth or Dare got so much friggin' hate, but Truth or Dare I liked 20 times more than Smile. You know what I mean? I just don't see the appeal.
Yeah, we don't like to bash movies, obviously, because we do positive spin and everything like that. So this will not be a positive spin because people like it, and I'm glad that they like it.
Yeah,
I am glad that they like it.
because I don't want to watch it again.
No. The thing about it is, it's been done before and it's been done better.
Mhm.
And I know that Brad said you still need to see it. I don't think you're going to like it because you did not like It Follows.
Yeah,
And this is almost a carbon copy.
yeah,
Almost a
and it
carbon
is,
copy.
and it's worse, and it's just it drags.
Yeah.
I hate to say, I'm not trying to bash either, but just to give you guys an idea of why, I feel like it was gonna go somewhere.
And we were
I was
waiting.
I was waiting for more, and
Yeah.
it's tough for me to really enjoy a movie when I don't like really any of the characters other than one, and that one character wasn't even the main character.
Right.
So the problem is, you only have scenes here and there with the one character that you like, and it's like that can't save the movie for me. It's just not
Yeah.
enough. So when you
And by
can't,
the way, the main character is Kevin Bacon's daughter.
and I didn't know this until after the fact.
Yeah.
When we were watching it, we had no idea that that was even the case. And it's nothing against her. It's just I don't know. I wasn't into the character. I wasn't into the performance. I just did not enjoy it. There were a couple cool scenes here and there that were like, okay, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
We didn't hate it. It's just not one that I particularly like.
And this year, like we keep saying, this year is so good that
Yeah.
it just both Joe and I were really looking forward to watching this because we had both heard a lot of good things.
Yeah.
But it just didn't do it for me. I know you liked it, Royce. I'm glad you did.
Exactly.
Rye, the horror guy. I'm glad you liked it too, because that's what we need. We need people to like horror.
Bingo, and that's exactly it. One thing, Jason and I will always say is, I don't care if we hate something. I want people to like it. I mean, Black Christmas 2019 is one movie I can honestly say I hate that fucking movie, and not because it's a horror movie, but because it was treated as not a horror movie because they literally made it into an agenda piece, which we talked about before. That's why I hate that movie. But my point is, when people like it, I'm not going to say, "Oh, I can't believe you like that." I'm glad you like it because it means we'll get more horror films and maybe another Black Christmas that we will like. So,
and JK, watch it for yourself. You might love it.
Oh yeah,
it was just. I think it hit. Joe and I watched It Follows not that long ago, and I think.
And Truth or Dare too.
Truth or Dare too, and because we watched those, I think when we watched this, it was just like,
Royce, I agree with you. The marketing was great, and I think the marketing was so much better than the movie.
Yeah,
I do. I mean, I think it was great marketing.
Yeah,
but
I do too.
There was no big payoff, and it's funny because the marketing was all about the smiles and all the different people with the smile. And while we got a few throughout the movie, I was expecting the smile to actually come up way more than it did.
Yeah, me too.
there was like so many slow gaps in between anything happening.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah, JK, you know what? I'm obviously a big 70s horror guy, a big 80s horror guy, even 90s. But I have to say, particularly for me, 2022 has been the best year in horror for me since the 80s.
Very long time.
The movies on this list, with the exception of maybe the bottom, I don't know, 4, I love the horror films that we watched for this ranking. We were impressed, movie after movie. We were like, wow, 2022 does it again.
Yeah.
So many great horror movies of last year.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, Royce, we talked about that. So yeah, anything else you want to say about Smile? Because that might be a nice leeway.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Well, Royce, I know we're going to lose some people here, but listen, this is just our opinion.
Yeah.
Jason and we also agree on our number 29, which is next on the list.
Yeah.
And that is, you just mentioned it, Pearl. Pearl is
Yeah.
number 29 in our ranking. Going into this ranking, I was convinced Pearl was going to be last for me. And
Yeah.
obviously, up until we watched Smile, Pearl was last for a long time because Smile was one of maybe the last 10 that we watched. So for like the first 20 or so, Pearl was at the bottom.
I will say something for Pearl though. I loved the last 10 to 15 minutes of it.
Me too.
If the rest of the movie was like that, I would have been completely 100% in. The last 10 to 15 minutes just blew me away. But again, kind of like, Smile, it was like too little, too late.
But here's the thing. I love those last 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But then you get to that last shot with the credits.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
it went on too long. And
God.
I know people love it, and I get it at first, but they needed to not go as far as they went with it.
Yeah.
It went on way too long with all the goofy faces and stuff. It was like, whoa, now enough's enough. Like it worked for a little bit.
I couldn't believe they did that.
It
like
worked for a little
cringy.
bit, and then they ruined it. It just went too far. It's like they tried to be too silly.
But before that, I loved it. I mean, that last 10, 15 minutes kind of really wowed me. I just wish that the rest of it would have been as good.
The monologue, that final chase scene with the axe, all that stuff was great. That was the best part of the movie.
Yep.
Up until then, I couldn't get into it. And this was the second time I watched it. I'd watched it by myself when it first came out. I really wasn't a fan then. I remember saying that in my review. I thought it was way overrated, way overhyped. It was like it's like a bizarre Wizard of Oz meets, I don't know, TCM prequel. I don't know. It's like just I think it's beautifully shot. I think it's an extremely well made movie.
We don't have X's number 28. I just let you know that right now. At least I don't. I don't think Joe does either.
No. No, I definitely prefer X to Pearl. I know a lot of people prefer Pearl to X, but not me at all. I think X was
It's definitely a better movie.
Much more entertaining for me was X.
Yep.
Pearl, like I said, I'm not saying Pearl was a bad film because I don't think it was at all.
No, it was shot extremely well.
I commend it for being different, different tone. It just didn't work for me. Yeah,
me neither. Some of the parts in the movie theater were okay as well. But all in all, the movie it's kind of forgettable in a way, except for that last 10, 15 minutes. That freaking blew me away. But
I know a lot of people, people were talking about Mia Goth being Oscar worthy and all this. Okay. I think she did a great job, but I think she did a great job in like spurts. Like that monologue was fantastic.
Yeah.
There are moments of brilliance from her.
Yeah.
But like you and I were saying when we watched this, I feel like she couldn't carry it. I feel like it needed more than just her. Like where X has these other supporting cast around her, it worked better. This was just way too much responsibility on her shoulders.
Yeah.
And it loses it for a while because you know what they make in the opening scene, they make her not somebody you're empathetic with because she kills the goose or whatever. She does this really kind of weird stuff with her dad. Obviously, she's not a character you're really supposed to like, yet she's the main character of the movie. So who are you really rooting for in Pearl?
Kind of some weird pervy stuff going on with her and her father. And I don't know. It didn't.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah. Hey, Michael. What's up, buddy? I love X. Yeah.
Rye the horror guy. Yeah, he's talking about Jeepers Creepers Reborn after Pearl. Well, we obviously have it after Pearl. I'm not saying we have it after X, but again, keep in mind, this is just our opinion. I mean, I'm like, is Pearl a objectively better film than Jeepers Creepers Reborn? Absolutely.
Yes.
But I'm going to watch Jeepers Creepers Reborn a hell of a lot more than I'm going to watch Pearl. I can tell you that.
I already have.
So I just find it more entertaining. I just do. I mean,
it's just personal preference. That's all. Rewatchability is a big thing on our rankings. Yeah.
That's just really what it comes down to. I mean, you know, again, I don't hate Pearl. I obviously liked Smile even less.
Yeah, me too. Do you want to go first on 28, or you want me to go first on 28?
I think we have the same 28, unless you changed yours.
I don't think I changed anything other than I did change one, but
All right, so then I'm gonna say it out loud. Our number 28 is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is at 28. You want to start with this one? What do you have to say about it?
Yeah. I was really getting into this movie. I really was. As we were watching it, we were going through it. This is one of the ones we watched towards the end, actually.
Yeah.
And I was really getting into it, but the characters all became, and I understand that's the point of the movie. The point of the movie is, well, I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't watched it, but paranoia and stuff like that.
The concept is great.
Yes, the concept is great. I just did not like any of the characters.
That is exactly my problem. That is exactly my problem. You have another movie here where there are no likable characters. Now, I will say this, just like you, I was really getting into it for a while. We were like, all right, once the game started, there's a game involved in Bodies, 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 for those who haven't seen it. Becomes a really cool concept. And we were really getting into it, even though we really didn't like the characters too much. You kind of don't care who lives or dies, so it's kind of like, who gives a shit? And then it gets to a.
I did like one character though. I did like one character, the older guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's right. The same character I liked. He's the one that I like.
Right.
The problem is after we were really getting into it, there's like a scene that just seems to go on for fucking ever, where it just becomes a very, a very Gen Z kind of scene, I guess you could call it, and it just goes on for way too long, and it's like, holy shit, just shut up already.
Yeah.
But what saves the movie,
unlikable.
what saves the movie a little bit for me was the twist, the reveal in the end. I really liked. I was kind of like, okay, this is cool, and so it kind of like it sprung it up a bit for me again, because I was like, all right, I'm liking this, almost to the fact where I considered it putting it maybe a spot higher. I didn't, but the ending alone, I almost did.
This one in my number 27 could have been reversed.
Me too.
It was very close. The reason why I put this where I did is because I really did not like the characters. And
exactly. Same.
The only character I liked.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say that because I don't want to give it away.
Well,
but the only character I liked, I don't know. It just, I don't know. It's been done better. This has been done better as well.
It has so much potential with the concept and with the way the twist went. If they got rid of some of that crap, like I said, those scenes that it's like, oh,
even the final girl. I mean, she was okay, but she didn't really appeal to me that much either. You're killing me here.
Sorry.
So yeah, this was one we waited for a while to watch.
You know, and I heard good things about this too. I did. I heard a lot of good things about it. Too. But
I know Christian, Jen and Christian. I knew Christian really liked this because he had mentioned it.
Well, it seems like a younger audience might really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I was
Yeah, exactly, Royce. That's the thing. It does. It really appeals to like the Gen Z, I think, and you almost can't keep up. And I don't mean that in like we're too old kind of thing, but it's like you can't keep up with some of the language, and you almost don't want to. You don't care to.
It was the thing that killed it for me is when they started acting like, and I'm going to be honest, acting like entitled little assholes.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck this movie. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then the twist kind of wrote me back in a little bit.
Exactly. Because I was like, damn, that's cool. That's clever.
Yeah, it was clever. The twist was clever. Mm-hmm. But then I didn't like the final girl. So, you know, I mean, she was okay, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was a tough one for me. Our next one, do we have the same one as the next one?
I think we do. Our number 27 is Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah, same one.
So this was our Disney Channel original, and
Can't find it. I'm slacking.
it's on the back of the
I'm
other one.
slacking on my
Remember?
job.
Back of the other one, remember?
What the fuck? Yeah, I know. But they're both on the same side. I can't find it. Ah, there it is. Hocus Pocus 2.
Hocus
And I
Pocus
actually
2.
talked to Brad because I know he watched this with his kids.
Mhm.
And overall, I actually thought this movie was fun, and it made me kind of want to go back and watch the first one again because I remember liking the first one a lot more.
Oh yeah.
But I like the nostalgia. I like the returning characters, of course, and I like the atmosphere. The atmosphere was a big deal for me in this one.
Well, that's the thing. For me, this one gets a big plus for me because this was filmed in my home state, like
Right.
10 minutes away from where I live. I mean, literally 10 minutes away. So this is one of those movies where as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, hey, I've gone to that restaurant. Hey, I've gone there. I've walked down that street. I've walked past that house. There's literally a scene when the characters are on the street, and it's the street where my old work used to be. So it's like it's literally a lot of stuff like that for me that I really like about this. This is an odd one where I could have
Well, you
had
took
this,
me on a tour too.
yeah,
Kind of, you were like pointing out stuff from your hometown and where this was and where that was.
This is an odd one where I could have had it a spot lower, but I've also could have had it like a couple spots higher because I was kind of going back and forth with it. Because I didn't dislike it. I did like it. I had fun with it. I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to because of certain things that I had heard about it. But I just kept feeling like I wanted more. I think the original Hocus Pocus is a highly loved film by a lot of people. It's like an annual Halloween watch for a lot of people. My wife loves the first one.
I like it, but I'm not into it as much as like you guys are.
I saw it in theaters,
the horror community.
I have the nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
I just expected something more. I think for me, when watching it, something that's missing in Hocus Pocus 2 is you don't have Binks, the cat, the talking cat from the original. And
that's right.
As silly as it sounds, I feel like the absence of Binks really made a difference in this one.
Yeah.
Like it's just weird how like a cat, like a talking cat, can make such a big difference. It just felt like there was something missing because there was no character like that to sort of break it up. Instead, you just get like these three young girls that really aren't in all of the movie because there's parts when they're like somewhere else when there's other stuff going on. So like the way it was filmed is kind of different.
You can if you don't mind. Sorry about that, Joe.
Yeah.
This is my fleece or whatever. Thanks. So. All right. Sorry about that.
So I forgot what I was saying.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Anything else you want to say about Hocus Pocus 2?
No, it's just it. The reason why it's probably pretty low for me is because I'm not into this movie as much as a lot of the other horror community. Because when I wasn't young when this came out, I was old because, like you all say, I'm old as dirt. But I did have fun with it, and with me, it's more about rewatchability, and I'm not going to watch this as much as a lot of the other ones.
No, it'll be one that I'll probably watch again in October this year because my wife hasn't seen it yet, my son hasn't seen it yet, so we'll probably revisit it after watching like the first one, like we normally do.
Yeah,
I will say this: people that even like that really liked Hocus Pocus 2, and people who didn't like Hocus Pocus 2 had one thing in common, is that was that they all seemed to dislike the ending. I actually liked the ending.
it.
I liked the ending a lot. I thought it was really well done, especially with the way the movie starts. I thought it was a really good way to end it. I thought it was it was a kind of like an emotional ending to it, and it worked. Yeah. It wasn't overly cheesy or corny or anything like that. It really worked, and I liked the ending a lot.
I liked them as little kids too in the beginning. The beginning wrote me in right away.
Me too. I think the young Bette Midler's character, she was great.
She was awesome. Great. She hit it on the head. She really did. But yeah, that's 27. Hocus Pocus 2. Do you think we still have the same 26? Or
I'm looking right now on mine. Let me see. I think we might, unless you changed it.
I don't think I changed it. I didn't change anything except for like towards the middle to my upper part, and I can't find this one either. Son of a bitch.
So you can't find it. There's only 30 movies.
I know. I'm here on the side, but there it is.
My number 26, and I think yours is They/Them.
Yep.
Okay. So They/Them is one of our Peacock originals.
Yeah.
This was one that could have gone either way. I felt like I could either really hate this movie or like it more than anticipated. And gladly, I'm happy to say that I liked it more than anticipated.
And here's the other one.
There were things that I really did not like about it.
Yes, me too.
But there
some
were
of the characters were just so unlikable; it wasn't even funny.
There were things that I really liked about it. So, first of all, I loved the camp. I loved the camp, the setting.
Oh yeah.
I felt like I was watching like a Friday the 13th movie or The Burning or Mad Men or something like that. The camp was just awesome. I loved that. There were some characters that I liked. There were some characters that I really did not like. But I'm okay with that because I had some that I liked, as opposed to, say, a movie like Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Yeah.
Or Smile, where there was very few characters that I liked, if any. So, there was a lot I liked about it. I liked the way certain things were handled. I don't like the way certain other things were handled.
Yeah.
I think the movie should have ended maybe 5 minutes before it did.
I agree with that.
I think the whole after the reveal and the climax, the final few minutes of it, kind of brought it down for me. I was like, oof.
A little bit. I will say this: I loved the freaking mask. It was so amazing.
Yeah, it was.
The Mask is one of the best I've seen in a while in a slasher movie.
Yeah, for like an original slasher mask.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought the premise was interesting.
Absolutely.
And I
Brad, yep.
Exactly. What Joe and I do is we watch a lot of times we'll look at people's reviews and see what they say about them and all that. And I noticed that a lot of people, what they were saying about this movie is it's a mess. And they try to do too many things with it. Now, I don't agree with that simply because everything led into what the final twist and everything was about.
Yep.
Yes, there was a few different things that were going on in the film, but rather than it being just a standard slasher film, I'm trying not to give anything away, there was another couple layers to the film. And I appreciated that.
Well, here's the thing. I was just going to say, I think there is a brilliance in that people are missing, and I think it was done on purpose. Here's the thing. The movie is called They/Them. First of all, I love the title. I love the fact that for so long people were calling it They Them, but the slash is there. The title is actually called, if you say it out loud, it's called They/Them because it is a slasher movie. But it's also it's like a slasher plus because it's something else. But but that's done on purpose. People calling it a mess are missing that was done deliberately because the movie itself has trouble identifying itself.
Yes.
I think it does it on purpose, and that's the point. A big part of the movie is how somebody identifies. And I think the movie carries that into itself, and it's like, how does this movie identify? Because for like the first half, it's one thing, and then with a taste of something else, and then suddenly it becomes something else,
something completely different.
So it really does. It treads that line of what does this movie identify as, and I like that. That's brilliant how that was done. Some people just aren't getting that. Some people aren't liking it. I get it. I understand it. But for me, I appreciate it.
Right. I'm starting to think you guys hate the Bacon family. Actually, I think Kevin Bacon is, and I remember saying this to Joe when we were watching it, I think he's one of the better actors to come out of this generation.
And also, this is what number 26 on our list. I know that's low. I mean, considering there's 30 movies, but you got to realize
so many good movies.
You got to realize, the movies on this list, they were so hard to rank. They were so hard to rank. I mean, some were
Yeah.
easy and some were not easy at all because there were so many good movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I really did like this movie. I liked they
I did
slashed them
too.
a lot. I really
There's
did.
only one movie that I did not like
Yep.
on our list, and that was Smile. That's the only movie I did not like.
Yep.
I even liked Some of Pearl. I thought Some of Pearl was brilliant. But, you know, the only movie I did not like was number 30. And that's, believe me, that's saying something for the type of year that we had. Because we could have picked out, there were so many horror movies this year. We could have picked out 30 different ones.
Exactly.
And done those. So, yeah.
So yeah, so that's they slashed them at number 26.
Yep. Now we might be a little different. I don't know. We might be.
See, I don't think we are.
Okay. This one should be easier to find.
Number 25. I'll say mine and let's see if it's the same for you.
Okay.
My number 25 is Morbius.
Okay. Yeah. Same.
Same again, huh?
Yep.
All right. So Morbius is our number 25 pick out of 30. This was one of the last ones we decided to do because Jason actually didn't have it for a while.
I didn't.
That was one of the last ones he got.
But I had already seen it though, because I went to see it in the movies when it came out.
I'm glad you got it though, because I'm glad we did this one.
I am too, because all right, here's what I'm going to say. Let me take this one, Joe.
Okay.
I saw this in the theaters when it came out. My daughter took me to see it for my birthday, and I was not a fan. I've always liked the Morbius character. I've always felt an association or a relation to the Morbius character because I had a blood disease as well. So, you know, that's why I always liked Morbius. I didn't like it. Joe, when I was talking to him before the film, gave me some really good advice, and it's something that I don't do with comic book movies that I need to start doing. And I did it with this, and I liked it a lot more. And that is, you need to view it based on its own merits.
Yeah, as if
I
it's a
can do
movie.
that with horror. I can do it with horror. I can do it with remakes. I can do it with a lot of different things. The only trouble I have is with comic book movies because I was so into comic books, still am, for so many years that, you know, it was almost like gospel to me. So when I finally took off the comic book glasses and just looked at it for its own merits, I really actually kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah. And
So-
I too was always a big fan of Morbius, you know, as a comic book character. So I was super excited when the movie was announced years ago, before
Yep.
COVID and all that. And
Yep.
then I was excited when Jared Leto was attached because I thought he was going to play a good Michael Morbius, and I think he did.
I think he did too.
By the way, this is also going to be a positive spin for us. So
Yes.
we'll be talking more about it in this video. So I don't want to say too much about it here.
Right.
But I will say this was a first time watch for me. I had not seen it prior to this, and I liked this one a lot more than I thought I was going to, as well, based on what I heard about it.
Yeah.
You know, this was just a fun, you know, sort of popcorn flick. It's literally a Marvel horror movie. I mean, it's like a
Vampire movie.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What movie did you compare it to?
Blade, maybe.
Yes, it wasn't Blade. It was not Resident Evil, but
Did I compare it to something?
you did, and it was a perfect comparison.
So now I wish I remember.
But it's one of those things where it's like it is. I mean, it is a horror movie. I mean, this the scene with the nurse, this nurse's kill.
That was awesome.
That's like a straight vampire horror movie kill.
Hell yeah.
You know, there's definitely a lot, and honestly, if you go on IMDb, interestingly, it is listed as horror on top of other things, which is pretty cool. So we definitely thought this qualified. We wanted to do it, and I'm glad we did.
Me too. Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Yeah. You know what? Unfortunately, Eagles, I guess, over Chiefs.
The toilet bowl.
But yeah, I did. I like this a lot. We'll be talking about this a lot more in our positive spin. So for now, Morbius.
It's killing me too because they're talking about giallos, right? And I want to get right in there, but I can't. So
We'll have to do we'll have to do a Gialli stream at some point.
yeah, we will.
Then we can talk about them then.
Yep.
Yeah, Morbius is at number 25.
Now, do we have the same 24?
I think so. I'm gonna say my number 24 is X.
Yep.
Okay. So once again, our pick for number 24 is X.
I
For
think the
those-
next one's going to be a little bit different. I think for both of us. I think. Maybe.
Unless that's the one you changed. It's not.
I don't think I did, but yeah. Oh, you know what? I think I did. Okay, good.
X is number 24 for us. I know a lot of people love it, just the same way they loved Pearl. I do, obviously I like X a lot more than Pearl, hence why it's
Yeah, me
at
too.
24 and not 29. I've watched this a few times now. More than I've watched Pearl. I have no desire to watch Pearl again for a while. X, as I've said before about X, I feel like X has moments of brilliance and more of them than
Yes.
Pearl did.
Yep.
There are scenes in X that I fucking love.
Me too.
I absolutely love. I love the landslide scene. I can watch that
Me
over and
too.
over again. I love the Don't Fear the Reaper scene. I can watch that over and over again. There are scenes I love at the end of the movie. There are scenes, there's a scene of Pearl watching them film the porno through the window.
Yeah.
That's a cool scene. There's some really good stuff. I love the split screen, the use of the split screen in X.
Yes.
That worked really well.
I mean, I'm a fan of Ty West.
But as a whole,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not one that I absolutely loved like everybody else did when they first saw it. When everybody was first watching this, when this first came out, and you can go back to my first review of this when I had the screener, and I said it. I was like, I liked it. I did. It's just I feel like it's already getting overhyped, and this was like in the first week, and people were talking about how original it was and this and that. How the fuck is it original?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Boogie Nights meets the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Basically.
I mean, it's original, I guess, to put those two things together, but it's not. It's nothing that like really stood out to me as like, holy shit, this is so original. I mean, I watch other movies that are way more original that people shit all over.
Yep.
Like something like
Whoa.
Old, yeah, exactly, or anything else by M. Night Shyamalan. People will crap all over while claiming, "I want to see original horror movies. I don't want to see the same thing over and over again." You have a movie like Halloween Ends. I want to see originality. Then Halloween does something different, and everyone's like, "Fuck this! I want Laurie versus Michael."
For 2 hours.
But we'll get to that. But anyway,
we'll get to that.
It's like X. That's how I felt with X. I was waiting. I was like, really? This is what people are talking about. This is what people are praising. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I do like X. I do.
I do too.
I just wasn't overly impressed with it. Like I am with others. We did our last ranking that we did was our Ty West ranking, and I think we had Pearl and X were in our bottom 3, I believe.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you, I am a Ty West fan. These are just not my favorite films from Ty West.
No, I mean, I much prefer House of the Devil, and I'm a fan of the Innkeepers. I know yours was a little bit lower than mine, but I love the Innkeepers. And he has even The Roost. I find took me a couple times to really get into it.
The Sacrament. I mean,
the Sacrament is brilliant.
So,
just brilliant.
The point is, I do like X. It's just on a scale of 2022 horror movies, it's at number 24. Put it that way.
Yeah, 24. Sorry. What's her name?
At number 23, I hope we have the same here, because if not, I'm going to lose a lot of people here, and you're not going to lose as many. So, my number 23 is Terrifier 2.
Daddy, really?
It is.
All right. It's mine.
Good. Too. All right, good. I was going to say, all right, everybody. I know you guys love it. I know you love Terrifier 2.
I'm glad you love it. I am. I'm glad you guys love it.
I've now watched it, I think, 4 times. And I have to say, I've liked it less and less every fucking time I watch it. I just can't take the false ending after false ending after false ending after false ending. There is a work of slasher. There's a slasher masterpiece hidden within Terrifier 2.
Yep.
I think
But being
Damien Lee.
the fact that it's 2 hours and 18 minutes is just
That's the thing.
way too long.
Damien Leone is a super talented director, but I feel like
He's a super talented special effects guy. He's a decent director, but he cannot edit.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think he's a super.
Yeah.
I was going to say I think he's a super talented director, but he just can't edit the movies. I feel like there's some great directed shots. It flows well to a certain degree, but then, the first hour and 45 minutes, even I'm in. I'm pretty much in, and then all of a sudden it hits a point where I'm like, I'm ready for this to end now, and then it's like, okay, I'm ready for this to end now. It's like, okay, I'm ready for this to end now, and then it just doesn't end. And then you get to the credits, and then there's a mid-credit scene that is the longest mid-credit scene I've ever seen in my life. And it's so unnecessarily long. And listen, I'm not trying to be a naysayer here because there is shit that I fucking love about Terrifier 2.
Me too.
I love the kills and the gore, obviously. I love the setting. I think all of the settings are my favorite thing about Terrifier 2. I love the Halloween store. I love the trick-or-treating scenes. I love the amusement park. I love the Halloween party. Yep. I love the settings. I love the kills. I love Sienna as a final girl. I think she's a great final girl. Art is obviously, he's an awesome slasher villain.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the kills. I love the mashed potatoes. The mashed potatoes always crack me up. I fucking love the mashed potatoes. But I just feel like it was one of those things where Damien Leone had all these ideas of how he wanted to end the movie. Instead of just picking one, he said, I'll just throw them all in there. And it just, I'm sorry, but it's too long. And again, I'm not trying to be a naysayer. I also watched this with my wife and my son, and they were really digging it until it got to that same point, and I could see them sitting there, like almost like eyes bleeding, like when is this going to end? Like I could, when you're showing somebody a movie and you're kind of like, you want them to like it too because you want them to enjoy what they're watching. But then it gets to a certain point where you're almost starting to feel like cringy, like, oh my God, this is just going on way too long.
Yeah.
And I could tell they were starting to get like antsy.
I almost fell asleep in the theater, Joe.
Yeah.
I did. I almost fell asleep in the theater. I was so into this movie for so long. And then there was point after point that made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they had a million great ideas and didn't know which ones to keep and which ones to get rid of, so they kept them all.
Dan just said it exactly. The good parts are really good.
Yes.
But the ending is painful. And it truly is. It's fucking painful. I hate to say it.
I think once they did with the magic sword thing, it really took me out of the film.
When she's in the water, it's like, Jesus Christ. Like, and there are things that I like about the ending, but I didn't need all of them. I didn't need all that stuff in there.
I really think they should have ended it when she fell through the floor.
Yep.
And he was, and the brother was down.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they would have ended it there and then gone to that cutscene with the Vicky thing, I think that would have been fine. That would have been roughly hour and 40 some minutes.
I've always said,
great for me.
An hour and 45 minutes, I think, is like, it's good for this movie.
Yes.
And even that's long for a slasher for the most part.
Yep.
The Scream movies can get away with it. They work. Other movies do as well, but even that's kind of long. Leslie, to answer your question, I love both of those movies. Necronomicon 93. Jason's a big fan of that.
Me too.
The Resurrected, we love that as well. We reviewed both of those for the Fangoria challenge. So
yep.
We've
good picks too. I love the Necronomicon. It's one of my favorites.
But
it's one of my favorite anthologies now.
Terrifier 2 is one of those movies. As I'm watching it, it's like I could love this movie.
Yeah.
But
I already came up. I told you what my own cut would have been for this film.
Yeah.
I would have cut some, not all, but some.
It's probably the most frustrating movie on this list because I feel like it maybe has the most potential for me. And it ruins that potential by just going on and on and on.
This was top 3 for me if it was done right.
Exactly. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. I can see why people love it. What I can't see is that people continue to defend the ending. They're acting like they don't see it too.
It's not
Like,
just the ending though.
no,
There's
but
a lot in this movie that just doesn't
but
make
I
any
can
sense.
but I can understand giving it a pass for certain other things. What
Yeah.
happens is for me is when it goes on and on and on, is now that I start going back, like, okay, not only did this not make sense, and this not make sense, and this not make sense, but now you're gonna drag this on way too long.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. It was just too much.
Yeah, this would have been, I was really so looking forward to this. I knew about the runtime and I was like, okay, well, if you can grab me for 2 hours and 18 minutes
Me too.
in a slasher movie, more power to you.
Yep.
But it couldn't do it. Yeah, it's just, I love the first one. The first one is almost perfect. First one's almost perfect. And I love the part in All Hallows Eve. It's just this movie, they just needed to, and I understand we were going through COVID and everything. But not every idea is a good idea. So
And especially when you're setting up for a third film, not everything had to be in the second one.
right.
You know?
They painted themselves in quite a few corners. You and I talked about that anyway.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they get out of this one.
One last thing to end on a high note. Another thing I love about the movie is the music. I love especially
Yes.
the opening credit music was fantastic.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, that's number 23 for us. Terrifier 2.
It grabbed him the whole time, he said. All right. 22. What do you have for 22?
Number 22, I have Studio 666.
Oh, brother. It's going to change, people. It's going to change.
Not yet, though, right?
No, it's not going to change right now. And of course, I can't find that one either. Start talking, Joe.
Studio 666.
Oh, it's up at the top.
This was a first time watch for me. This is, of course, also known as the Foo Fighters horror film. This movie was a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
I think it belongs above Terrifier 2, exactly right above it for me, because I feel like it has some of the same issues as Terrifier 2, just not as bad.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
this could have used an edit in a lot of scenes. I
Yeah.
think this would have benefited by being a little bit shorter. There were certain things that just, how can I explain it? For me, it's like The Exorcist. Okay, The Exorcist has scenes with Reagan in the hospital, and then scenes with her in the hospital again, and then scenes with her in the hospital again. And I've always said I think they could have done it maybe in like one hospital scene and just talk about her being there multiple times. Studio 666, I think, has the same issue where it'll show them recording, and then show them recording again, and then show them recording again, and then show them recording again. And it's like, we understand that's what they're there for. I get that.
Yeah.
But I think some of the recording sessions go on a little bit too long.
Yeah.
And I get they were just having fun, and it's cool, and it shows they were having fun making the movie. But I just think it could have used an edit. With that being said, another one where when it's good, it's really good. There is some really cool stuff in this. I love
There's
the
some
look.
really cool kills. Some cool
I love the
blood
kills.
scenes.
I love the look of the evil. I'll just call it, to not spoil anything.
Yeah.
I like the house, the location, and everything like that. I think it was fun. They obviously, they're not actors, but you can tell they were having fun making the movie.
Yeah.
And I love that Taylor Hawkins got to film this before he died.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But yeah, what do you think about Studio 666?
I remember telling you when I got this that I put it in because I'd forgotten that you got it, and I watched like the first 20 minutes of it and took it out because I think I have to be in a certain mood to watch this.
See you later, Chris. Yeah.
Because see you, Chris. It's a lot of the Foo Fighters. It's a lot. I mean, and after a while, there are some things that kind of get on your nerves. At least mine, anyway.
I agree.
But with that being said, there are a lot of things in this that kind of like, in a way, kind of are like Spinal Tap for me, because it's kind of what it's like to be in a band. And that for me was fun. So, like, I think it's like you said, they needed an edit in some of the parts. I think they needed to go into the backstory a little bit more. I would have liked to have seen more of who's the girl who plays Wednesday?
Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen a little bit more on the band that she was in.
I mean, I'd love to see more of her anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So now you got me confused here. All right. I wanted to see a little bit more on the band. I know what happened, the backstory and everything like that. And it starts out right away. And I love that. I love the fact that it goes in right away to it, but then they don't touch on it that much later, that much as the movie goes along.
And I think that's what I mean. I think maybe they could have used some of the time, even if it had the same runtime, they could have used some of the time dedicated more towards that than the needless recording thing. And again, not to say that they shouldn't show them recording, because they should have, but some of it was just too long, a little bit too long for recording.
It's an L sharp, Joe.
Yeah.
That to me, I mean, they were purposely going for Spinal Tap with that. I mean, there's no doubt, because there's no such thing as an L sharp. But
yeah, that's the point. Exactly.
See you, buddy. All right. Yeah.
So that was what, 22?
It was fun though. Who was your? Let me ask you a question. Who was your favorite band member besides, of course, Dave Grohl?
Honestly, it was always Taylor before.
Really?
Yeah.
I like the dude with the hat and the one that slept in the kitchen. I thought he was hysterical.
Yeah. I'm saying as a band member, like, growing up.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought you meant in general.
I mean yeah, I thought he was funny. The snacks in there.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny. I thought his comic timing was really good, whereas some of the other guys, because like you said, they're not actors.
Yeah. But like I said, I appreciate the fact that they were just happy to be doing it. You can tell they're having fun.
Yeah.
So it's okay for me. Like, sometimes there can be bad acting that sort of takes you out of the movie. Not so much me and you. Me and you are pretty lenient with that stuff.
Yeah.
But in this case, you kind of go in knowing that they're not actors. So you shouldn't go into a movie like this expecting brilliant acting. I mean, Dave Grohl was fun because he was over the top, and you could tell he was having fun with it. So it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Studio 66 is number.
Dark and the Wicked was really good.
Studio 666 is number 22 for us.
Yep. 21. This will be interesting.
Why don't you go first? Why don't you go first this time? What do you go for 21?
For 21, and it pains me to say it, but I got Men as 21.
Same here.
Get the fuck out of here! Really?
Men is number 21 for me.
All right. I had already seen this before we decided to do this ranking and put this in there, and I kind of convinced Joe to get it in order that we could include this in there. And there were, I'm glad we did. I'll just leave it at that. I'm glad we did.
Well, look at it this way. It is number 21, which means it's in the bottom 10, but it's in first place of the bottom 10. No, I mean, truthfully, when you look at it, I mean, it's in a ranking like this, when we have 30 movies, and most of which are really good horror films.
Yeah.
21 is not all that bad.
No, it's not.
Because the top 20 are really good movies.
But what I will say is I think this is a better movie than 21, but I have to go with what we were talking about as far as like rewatchability, because this is a slow burn. It is a slow burn, and it's easy. It's a movie that's very easy to be taken the wrong way.
As far as objectively made films, I think this is probably in the top 5 of best made movies.
No
on this
doubt.
List.
No doubt.
I think it's a brilliantly made movie.
Yes.
My thing with the reason why it's so low, if you want to call that for me, is because of the rewatchability.
Yes.
It's not a movie that I'm going to revisit often, not because I don't like it, but because it's a certain movie. You got to be in the certain mindset for this type of movie.
Yeah.
It's a really thinking man's kind of movie. It's one of those movies you can go into into the rabbit hole. There is a lot of research you can do. There are essays written on this film already.
Yeah.
The religious overtones and all that. There is just so much.
It's very smart.
There's so much quality in this film that you just want to dissect it and get every ounce you can out of it. But again, I'm not always going to be in the mood for a movie like that.
Exactly.
So I don't have. I wouldn't say I have as much fun with this movie, although I was entertained. It's not a movie that you watch and you're like, wow, this is a really fun time. You watch it
Yeah.
and say, this is a really like wild time, but you're not like it's not like a feel good, like you feel happy kind of watching it kind of movie. It's more
Yeah.
of like you're just so deeply into what's happening on screen that you're like, holy shit, that sort of movie.
And
It's a
I'll tell
hard
you,
one to
this is
describe.
something that you do pick up different stuff every time you watch it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I
Like I
love.
said, the whole thing with the whole tree and everything.
Yep.
I picked that out the second time because going in, you're not exactly sure what this movie is going to be because you're
Yeah.
waiting for the
Yeah.
characters to develop. You're waiting for
Beef
the
curtains.
story to get more into it. But then once you watch it and you watch it again, I'm like, wow, I missed that the first time.
I love the thing with the faces. I'm not going to say what
Oh
that
my
is.
God.
I love the setting. The
Yes.
setting for me is a huge plus.
Yep.
Like I said, for some reason, there's a scene when she goes for a walk, and I don't know why that scene just sticks with me. I keep thinking about that scene.
The vanishing. That's
It's
why
like,
it sticks with you.
yeah, it's like a haunting kind of like the way it's filmed and everything. It's beautifully shot.
And
You know what that scene? You know what that scene reminds me of? You watched this movie too.
Yeah.
Voice from the Stone with Amelia Clarke.
yes. Yes.
Doesn't it remind you of that, like the setting?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what it reminds me of a lot.
That was a really good movie too.
I like that movie a lot.
Yeah. But this is a really good film.
Yep.
But it's not going to be it's not going to be for everybody because it's a
Absolutely
very slow
not.
burn.
Yeah.
And like I said, you really have to think about it and you really have to devote all your attention to it, which is a weird thing to say. Not that you wouldn't do that anyway, but there's a lot of hidden shit in here.
You got to pay attention.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there.
I will say too, while I'll repeat, while I do think it's in like the top 5, maybe top 3 of best made films on this list, it is also the one movie on the list. If I can only pick one movie that I wouldn't recommend to everybody, it would be this one because you just can't recommend it to people. You just can't. Because I feel like this is the movie that most people are also likely to hate the most. And they shouldn't, but they will. When we were watching it, I said this to you. I was reading that this was the most refunded movie at cinemas in 2022. More people left the cinema asking for their money back from men than any other movie in 2022.
I don't get it, but I mean, maybe, I don't know.
I think the ending is what got that.
You think so?
I think so.
I mean, to me, it makes perfect sense. It's a very graphic way of showing what you just watched. But, I don't want to say anything more about it because I'm going to end up giving it away and I don't want to do that. So, but yeah, men, I don't know. If you want to watch it. If you don't, maybe I'll review this for Body Bags or something.
I'm gonna be honest. You know what's weird? We watched it that night, right? And I was like, I was one of those movies where I felt like, all right, I'm probably not gonna want to watch this again for a while. I kind of want to watch it again.
Yep.
Like it's
I wanted to watch it with you, and I wasn't sure I was gonna want to.
Yeah, it's kind of on my mind now, and I kind of want to watch it again.
Yep.
And I feel like it's gonna be one of those movies that just sticks with you. And
it's so smart.
I don't want to spoil it either. I can't recommend it, but at the same time, I think people should see it because I think it's more of an experience than it is a movie.
Yep.
One of those sort of films. You have to experience it, even for curiosity's sake. If you want to see something really original, unique,
different,
brilliantly done, even if you don't like it, I say watch Men. Give it a chance because it's an experience that you're not likely to forget.
Ain't that the truth?
All right, we are into our top 20 now.
You want to go first? Or you want me to go first this time?
Number 20 for me is Terror Train, which is the Tubi original remake of Terror Train.
We're different.
Okay.
All right.
So I went with Terror Train. This is the Tubi remake. I'm
not too far off of you.
I was just reading the comments a little bit. Terror Train. I went with Terror Train. I like this a lot. This just kind of this is one of those movies that just sort of landed here. You know, I almost didn't rank it here. It just sort of landed here because I ranked other stuff above it. I had a lot of fun with Terror Train. I think it was really good for a to be original. I wasn't expecting it to be as well done as it was. I love the clown mask.
Yeah.
I like the characters. I love the magician. I actually like the magician more in the remake than I do David Copperfield in the original. I love the fact that this Terror Train was set on Halloween as opposed to New Year's. They did their own little twist on the original Terror Train. But not only that, they also did their own little twist on the movie itself. Like they didn't just this isn't a shot for shot remake of Terror Train, which I really like. They did something different with it.
Yeah, they did do a little something different. I will say I agree with Indie Phantom. Completely. What he said, completely.
Me too,
yeah. Yeah. Just sorry about that.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, right on the money too. We feel exactly the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was locked in.
So that's my number 20 is we can talk about it more when you get to it.
I'm not that far off.
What do you have for number 20?
Number 20, I have The Invitation.
Okay.
I really like this movie. I really did. However, I am not the biggest vampire fan.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, Ghost Rider. It was a to be original remake that came out last year. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah. I shouldn't have said that. The Invitation is a beautifully made film. Disregard what I said. It has some interesting characters. I love the setting. I even like what it's about.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Well, it does to me. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I already said it, so I might as well just go ahead and do it.
Well, no, don't have
okay,
to.
all right.
You don't have to.
I put the pieces together as it went along. Joe knows this because he had already seen it, and I watched it after that. And I was pleasantly surprised because I am not a fan of certain movies in this subgenre, and I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really say much more without giving everything away. But I like the characters. I like the acting. I love the scenery. It's very gothic, with the castles and the hallways and the cobwebs and I don't know. It's just really, it's a beautifully made film.
I agree.
Yeah. And I will leave you to talk about that more when we get to it.
All right. Number 19.
Gotta be.
Why don't you go first this time? Because I think I know what it is.
19 is going to be. There it is. Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Oh, I guess I don't know what it is.
This was a tough one for me to place. Yeah, this was a tough one for me to place. I really like this film. I've watched it twice now, and I actually liked it more the second time I watched it, and it will probably be going up as I watch it more. Unfortunately, no movie's perfect, and this does have some awkward things that I think were due to budgetary constraints.
Exactly what they would do to. Yeah.
Right. So I don't fault it for that. There's one part that I don't want to give away, is a part that bothers me, and it took me out of the film a little bit, but I get it to a certain degree. But let me just tell you something. Everybody says this is one of the worst movies ever made. It is not. It is a fantastic,
I don't know how
I'm not even going to call it a reimagining. I'm not going to call it a reimagining. I'm going to say this follows the plot line enough where it references some of the other films as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a very smart part 4, and I love the atmosphere. I love the set pieces. Oh God, the areas that they did, the Horror Hound weekend, I freaking loved it. But I think the budget hurt it a little bit. But I do love this movie. I think it's fantastic, and it kind of irritates me that people give it a hard time because of the budgetary constraints.
Well, we'll talk about it more when I get to it, and then also we have a positive spin coming up of this later in the year.
Yes, we do, because I really do like this film. I think it adds more to the lore of the Creeper. That's one of the things I like about it the most.
Yeah,
and I like their attention to detail about the piece of the puzzle that you're missing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave it at that.
That was number 19 for you, right?
That was number 19. I wanted to put it a lot higher, but I mean, this has been an incredible year.
All right. Number 19 for me is Terror Train 2.
There you go.
So Terror Train 2 is the sequel to the to-be original Terror Train remake, which also came out last year. Yes, they released both of them in the same year.
Yes.
They released the first one around Halloween because it was a Halloween movie. They released Terror Train 2 around New Year's Eve because it's a New Year's Eve movie. So just like, and I love that they did that because the original Terror Train with Jamie Lee Curtis was set on New Year's Eve. Then they remake it and they set it on Halloween. Then they do a sequel to the remake, and keep in mind the original never got a sequel. Yeah. And in the sequel to the remake, they set it on New Year's Eve. I just love that they did that.
Yeah, me too.
I obviously prefer this to the first one, to the remake.
Me too.
It's another really fun slasher film. I love the twist. I love the reveal. I love the whole social media aspect of it. And honestly, there are movies where that just doesn't work for me. Where
they did it smart.
They did it really smart in this.
Yep.
And I feel like it's like a Halloween Resurrection, but better. Like they did what Halloween Resurrection wanted to do at the time, and I feel like they did it in a way that I think might give it a little bit more time to be enjoyable. Whereas Resurrection, you look back and now it doesn't really age that well. I think Terror Train 2, with the technology they use, the social media thing they use, I think it has a little bit more shelf life.
Yeah, I do too.
In the way Resurrection went.
They kept it from specifics and they made it a little bit more general. I think that's where it succeeded.
Exactly. I'm trying not to spoil it. You know what I mean?
I know.
But I had a lot of fun with this.
Me too.
Yeah, Dan, they were fun. I love both. We watched both of them back to back when we did these, and I liked 2 more. I really did.
Me too.
I
shouldn't say that, but I did.
I just had a lot of fun with it.
I feel like I really threw you for a loop and broke your heart, didn't I?
Yeah,
I did. I know I did.
Yeah. Number.
I'm sorry, dude.
We're on number 18, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Well, you're on 19, right? Or
I'm on 18.
Okay, you're on 18. Good.
My 18 is Terror Train.
Okay.
Terror Train. It's no secret. Anyone who knows me knows that I love the original Terror Train. Mm-hmm. Always have stories behind it. One of these days I'll have to do my story on Terror Train, maybe. But I've watched this 3 times now, and I really enjoyed it. The first time I wasn't in the mood for it, and I still liked it, although I didn't like it as much. Mm-hmm. When I sat down and really gave it a chance, sounds weird, but I liked it a lot more. Yep. Now, what I ended up doing was I watched the first one, and then Joe had told me that the new one was out, Terror Train 2. I was like, wait a minute, they just released Terror Train. I was like, what the hell's going on here? So I remember you telling me that, and I watched it that day. So, and I went back. Do you want me to go into number 17?
I haven't done 8. Did I do my 18 yet?
Yeah. Did you do 18?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 16. I haven't done my 18 yet, so no.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right,
yeah, we'll just leave it that there then.
So Terror Train is your number 18.
Yes.
My number 18, don't have much to say about it. It's The Invitation. Because we just talked about it briefly. Yeah, I watched it. I've watched it twice now because I watched it by myself first, and then I watched it again when we watched it. Yeah, Verge, I made those Terror Train.
He did. They're awesome too.
The Invitation, I really liked it. I love the gothic setting. I love the main girl. She was in Game of Thrones. For anybody who watched Game of Thrones, she was Missandei in Game of Thrones. I think the casting was really good in this, and I'm not going to say why, but
yeah, I agree.
Really good casting, especially one character in particular was fucking perfect.
Yep.
I love the castle where the majority of the movie is set. I love the outdoor scenes. I love the indoor scenes. It's just so atmospheric. I love that it's a twist on a classic tale, but with its own bit of originality and with little Easter eggs and stuff here and there for fans to find, and I love that.
You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I really enjoy what they did with this movie, and you know what? It's one of those movies that I actually can see myself revisiting more than I thought I would.
Me too. And you know how I feel about this subgenre.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I watched it again with you, I was excited to check it out again, and I had only just seen it like a week or two before that. So I can definitely see rewatching this one, you know, more than I would have expected. I really can. There's a lot I liked about this. I think it was paced really well too.
Yep.
This was one of those movies we were like, wow, this is almost over. It really and the big reveal in this one, even though you might think you see it coming, the way that it happens is really like, whoa, like it's a big like holy shit moment.
Yeah.
And it's like it gets you good, and I appreciate that about it.
You remember the thing that killed me for this was didn't kill it. Okay, I love the movie. I think it's great. The ending was a little bit like, meh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was where we kind of differed on this one. But yeah, it's a really good movie. Definitely worth a watch. Yeah, I agree. I still broke your heart on Jeepers Creepers. I know I did.
That's all right.
I'm sorry, dude. I love it, though. I love it. I mean, I think it's a great movie. There's just so many good movies that we watched.
You're on number 17 now, right? I know what you got for 17.
He's mad at me now. Terror Train 2 for number 17.
Terror Train.
I actually preferred this, and I'll tell you why. I think because it was original.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I liked what they did different with the remake, I really thought, how are you going to do the same thing on a train, you know, not that long after this? And somehow they made it work and they made it plausible. And I got to give them credit for that. This is a really well-made film. So is this one. And they are really, really good companion pieces. Very good.
Absolutely. Good night, Brad.
See you, Brad. Terror Train 2, really good film. It's, you know, okay, say we were doing Terror Train and Terror Train 2, like ranking it like we are now. Mm-hmm. It's not that much different than the original, really. I mean, because they're basically made the same. That you had told me that they were made back to back.
Yeah, and I think that's why we both have them
the same.
I think that's why we have them ranked right above, like Terror Train 2 right above Terror Train.
Exactly.
But there's nothing in between them, you know.
Yep. But yeah, these are really good. And I am a fan of the original Terror Train, so you know, it's not like I didn't like the first one. I don't like this one either. So yeah, very good movie.
All right. My number 17 is The Northman.
Ooh. All right.
There it is. All right. So this one, I know there's gonna be people who say that's not a horror movie, but you know what? It is.
Yeah.
There's there is absolutely no reason why a movie can't be a Viking movie and also a horror film.
Yeah.
Why it's weird, isn't it weird to you? I think this is an interesting topic, and I'm not insulting anybody because it is like a weird like mindset that people have. But isn't it funny how certain genres people are okay saying something can be a horror and a comedy, and they can call it a horror comedy. Something can be sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like
adventure,
when it comes to like an action film
yep,
and like a horror film, people have a tough time saying like Cobra's a horror film, even though I think it is.
You know what? Here's the one that gets everyone. I guarantee it. Predator.
Bingo. Even the Terminator. The Terminator is a fucking horror movie. The Terminator. Yeah. James Cameron even said he followed the slasher formula when he made Terminator.
Absolutely.
So Terminator is sci-fi, horror, action, and it's all that. But anyway, my point is, for some reason, when it comes to a movie like The Northman, people are like, "Oh, that can't be horror." I mean, even on my video, somebody commented when I showed the movies we might be ranking, and because I mentioned in that video, I said, Robert Eggers has only done horror films up to this point, and that's not to say that he can never branch out and do anything else, but he's done horror movies up to this point. His next movie is a horror film. So what makes you think that he has no horror elements in The Northman? And somebody commented and said, "Oh, just because you did horror before, that's not a good reason to say that this is a horror movie." But if you watch the movie, there's plenty of horror in this movie.
Yep.
Why? Tell me this. The Northman, if The Northman isn't a horror movie, does that mean I Spit on Your Grave is not a horror movie?
Exactly.
Because I Spit on Your Grave and The Northman have a lot more in common. It's somebody being wronged and
revenge,
killing everybody in their way to get revenge.
Yep.
Only one is set at a house by a lake, and one is set in a different time period.
And that's not it. That's not the only horror elements in here.
Oh no, the witch doctor and all that.
Yeah, all the pagan rituals and stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, there are a lot like the show Vikings, and there is a lot of horror in the show Vikings as well.
Even Game of Thrones,
done so well.
It's like, again, I'm not trying to sound like I'm lecturing people. I'm really not, but I hate when people get so close-minded.
Yeah.
Because again, regardless, either way, this is our list, so we're going to do whatever the hell we want. I mean, we were even going to include the Batman originally.
Yep.
Because honestly, the Batman is the closest thing to a Batman horror film since, Gotham by Gaslight, which I also consider to be a Batman horror film.
That's
that
true.
one just happens to be animated, and that's not 2022. But this, the Batman is basically like Saw meets a Batman film. I mean, it's like a slasher film. The Riddler is a slasher villain.
It is
in a
He's
Batman
a
film.
Killer.
But we decided against it because we used Morbius instead, so we went with like a Marvel horror movie instead of a DC horror movie.
Big difference, right?
But the Northman we still wanted to include because you don't get a lot of horror movies in this sort of subgenre, like a Viking horror film, and I do think that's what it is.
Yeah, I do too.
But
there's no doubt in my mind.
It's funny because when we watched this, we were like, "This is gonna be one of our favorite movies of the year." Blah blah blah. We fucking loved it, and I have it here at 16. So,
I will say this: when we were talking about, you have it at number. Wait a minute.
17?
You have it at 17.
Yep.
I feel like this is the same way with Men, where if it was about how the movie's made and shot, it would be in top 3 probably.
Yes.
Because the movie
absolutely.
is shot so well.
This might be number 1, honestly, of best made, like objectively best made movies.
Actually, we can keep talking because can I do my 16 real quick?
Yeah. Do you? So now, what's your 16?
The Northman.
Okay.
It was just one away, and I wanted to kind of keep talking about it because I really like this movie.
Yeah.
And I think that Robert Eggers he's going to be a force for years to come.
He's one of my favorites right now.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Him, Joe Bagos. I like. But as far as like originality, I got to go with Robert Eggers.
For sure.
I just hope he keeps getting the money to make what he wants, because you can tell The Witch, he made what he wanted.
Yep.
Lighthouse. I mean, he's getting.
Well,
he must be getting it from somewhere.
He's doing Nosferatu next, so
I know. I mean, and you know how I feel about that, but I am really looking forward to it because it's him. Can you imagine? Oh my Lord! The camera angles, the way it's going to be shot. It's going to be disgusting.
It's supposed to be Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu.
Oh my God!
I believe Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be the female lead. So
wow,
should be great.
Hell yeah! Yeah, I do. Thank you. Yeah, this movie is freaking fantastic, and give it a shot. I mean, and if you like action adventure movies, you'll probably like it too. But it also does have a lot of horror, just like Joe said. It is. There's a lot of horror in this movie. A lot of hard to watch stuff too in here. Yeah. And yeah, it's a really good film. So
that was 16 for you, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Your number 16, Joe?
My number 16 is The Curse of Bridge Hollow.
Wow.
So this is one of those movies that I would have loved to have ranked higher, just because it's so fucking fun. I mean, we had a blast with this. I think we were both just shocked by how much fun this movie was.
Yep.
And this is one that will, without a doubt, be an annual Halloween season watch for me. This is like everything I wanted Hocus Pocus 2 to be.
Yes.
Like, it's just so much fun. For those of you who don't know about The Curse of Bridge Hollow, this family moves to a New England town where they love Halloween. All of the houses have like a theme for the decorations. They move into this new house. You know, certain series of events happens where the young girl unleashes a curse on the town that literally brings all of the Halloween decorations to life.
It's so damn good.
So they're literally fighting off Halloween decorations on Halloween in this small town that is decorated perfectly for Halloween.
Yep.
It is just so much fun. I was smiling the entire time watching this film.
You and me both.
I think we both were. There are scenes set at the Halls of Horror at the high school where they have their own Halloween haunt. They're literally in like a Halloween maze. I love scenes like that are filmed at haunt for Halloween movies. It's just so much fun.
Well, can I do my 15?
You've done your 16, so yeah. Your 15 is Curse, right?
Yeah, that's why I just wanted kind of to keep talking about it, because this movie is something special. At first, I wasn't quite sure because, I mean, Marlon Wayans is okay. And
he's pretty funny in it.
Some of it's kind of corny, but it kind of works at the same time.
It's family-friendly horror film, like a Hocus Pocus. You know, it's not meant to be like overly scary. It's fun.
But this is one hell of a horror film.
Yeah, it has everything.
I was completely impressed. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, and I think you said it. This is what I kind of wanted Hocus Pocus 2 to be. Yeah. I mean, exactly. That's exactly it to the T. I had so much fun with this movie.
By far. Loved
yes. This is going to be an annual watch. Maybe we can do like a double feature, like Kenny and Company, and then this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
JK, seriously, it's great. I really recommend this one. It's a Netflix original, so it's on there. There's no physical release, obviously.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It is. I cannot express enough. Like, I cannot put into words how fun this movie was.
You, Joe, have to watch Goosebumps 2 with me this year.
We're gonna watch that. Yeah.
Because if you love this movie, you're gonna love Goosebumps 2.
I'm sure, and I'm a big Goosebumps fan as it is. So
the first one is like here. The other one is like all the way up here. I'm not kidding. It's like night and day.
So that's 15 for you, right?
Yeah, that's 15.
So I'm gonna do my 15 now, and I'm gonna break your heart a little bit. This will be like a little bit of payback for Jeepers Creepers.
Oh no!
Number 15 for me is Sick.
What?
Yep.
Oh my Lord! You did it on purpose, didn't you?
Sick is number 15 for me.
15?
I was going back and forth. It was either going to be 15 or 14. I ended up going with it for 15. Now here's the thing: we're at a point here. Now this is our top 15. We're at a point where even before this, because I can say I loved The Curse of Bridge Hollow, and I can say I love The Northman.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're now beyond the point where I can say I fucking love all of these movies. So
well, I started at number 19 with Jeepers Creepers.
that's what I'm saying. We're beyond the point where I love all of these movies.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely, Dan. You need to watch that Curse of Bridge Hollow. But yeah, Sick is number 15 for me. I love it. I do. I was really impressed with the reveal. I don't want to say too much at all about this movie.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to spoil anything. It's a very short film. I think before the closing credits started, it was like an hour and 17 minutes when the credits.
Yeah.
So it's a super short slasher film. It is Kevin Williamson, who obviously wrote, three of the Scream movies, 4 of the Scream movies now. Yeah, he kind of returned back to what I loved about Kevin Williamson movies when he was writing other ones like Scream and Cursed and I Know What You Did Last Summer and that sort of thing, like those 90s sort of slasher films that worked.
Yep.
And that's kind of what this is. It's like people keep saying it's Scream meets COVID, and that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
And for those of you saying, "Oh, we watch movies to get away from COVID," I think you'll appreciate what they do with it. He was sort of taking sort of jabs at COVID in a way.
He was taking jabs at the population.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to spoil anything about it. Yep. I will just say, for those of you thinking, "Oh, a COVID movie," I think you'll enjoy it.
Do yourself a favor. If you're a slasher fan, you need to watch this film. It is so good. And I felt bad putting it where I put it.
With it being so short, it's tough to say much without spoiling anything. Yeah. So I just want to say that, again, I love the reveal. I love...
I don't think you guys can see that.
What they did with... I love the house. Oh,
my God.
It's this really awesome, like, cabin house in the woods.
Yeah.
Other than that, I really can't say too much about it because there's not a lot to say. If you like slasher films, you should love Sick.
Yeah. Yes. This movie's so good. All right, now we're even, Joe.
Yeah.
We're even now, maybe.
So what are we on now? We're on 14?
14.
Okay, so you go first.
All right. My number 14. My number 14 is going to be The Menu.
Okay.
As far as movies that are made incredibly fantastic, this also goes up in the top 5. I don't know how many we put up there, but
just a little tidbit about this one. This is the highest rated movie on IMDb on this list.
Really?
Yep. This and then something else that I'll say when we get to it. But this is number 1.
It's a really good film. I really like it. I've seen it twice now.
Mm-hmm, me too.
It has a little bit longer runtime than
doesn't feel like
movies on here.
Yeah,
but it goes by super quick.
It does.
And after thinking about it for a while, I think I might agree with you on the Oscar for Ralph Fiennes. He's just brilliant in this movie.
Fiennes.
Oh my God,
Ralph Fiennes.
It makes you. Look, there's not a whole lot to think about this movie, but it makes you think. It does. It makes you think. And you may not like what you think about when you watch this movie. You may not like it. You like the movie, but you may not like what you think about. But
yeah,
for me, it's a powerful movie. Yeah. Menu, really good film.
Well, our number 14s are going to make a great double feature because my number 14 is Fresh.
Well, alrighty then. Okay, Fresh.
So Fresh is number 14. Okay, again, I love all these movies at this point. I loved Fresh. I had so much fun with this.
Me too.
And this is a longer movie too, but I fucking loved every minute of it. The reason why I have it here, the only thing that I really don't like too much about it is the ending. I feel sort of the way about this ending is sort of how you felt about the Invitations ending.
Really?
I feel like it just kind of ended and it got a little too like they almost didn't know how to end it. So it was like you know what it kind of reminded me of? Not exactly like, but kind of. Get Out. Like when Get Out
Okay.
ends, it's like okay, you have like this old like. Don't get me wrong, I think Get Out is overrated, and I say
Yeah,
this
me
all the
too.
time, and
Me too.
I still do need to revisit it. Maybe I'll like it more this time, but even still, you can still see the good film in Get Out as you're watching it, and then it almost felt like he ends on like a joke, and it's kind of like haha, like you're really gonna end the movie like that, and then
I know what you're talking about.
and I kind of feel like that with Fresh. I
In a
feel
way.
like I feel like it ended in a way where I was like, huh, like that's it.
Yeah.
Like I kind of just wanted a little bit more for the ending. Now, with that being said, everything up to that point, I fucking love.
Yes.
I loved this movie. I love where it went. I had an idea of what the movie was, but not exactly. So when it happens, it was like, oh shit, okay, here we go. I love the music choice in this,
Yes.
which makes me have to go back for a second. The Curse of Bridge Hollow, by the way, also has one of the great fucking soundtracks on this list.
Yes.
The Curse of Bridge Hollow has perfect music, song placement in The Curse of Bridge
Yes.
Hollow.
So does this.
But yeah, so does Fresh. Sebastian Stan, fucking brilliant, fucking brilliant. You know, other than Ray Fiennes on this list, I think Sebastian Stan has the best performance. Everybody wants to rave about Mia Goth, and
Yeah. I
yes,
know.
she was great. But if anybody on this list deserves an Oscar, I believe it was Ray Fiennes. If anybody else deserved an Oscar on this list, I believe it was Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I loved Fresh. Fresh was one that my mom watched like a long time ago, and she kept telling me I needed to watch. She loved it too.
Me too.
And,
I told you you had to watch it
I was
too.
putting it off because of the runtime. To be honest with you, it's just
Yeah.
what I
It's
do.
almost 2 hours.
But when we watched it, I did. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I really wanted to rank this higher too, but again, I love all these other movies. So at this point, I'm kind of looking for faults as opposed to what I like more. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
what can I rank lower just to have an excuse to rank something lower? And for me, it was the ending for this. That's what made me put it here. So that's number 14 for me is Fresh. So
Well,
your number 13 is Fresh, I bet, right?
my number 13 is
Okay.
Fresh.
All right.
I thought it went so well with the menu. It could almost be like a double feature, like you said.
Yep.
I thought Sebastian. Now, see, the ending didn't get to me like it got to you. I mean, I kind of understand where you're coming
It didn't
from.
get to me. I was okay with it, but it just wasn't. I was expecting a little bit more from it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I can understand that. All right, Sebastian Stan, like you said, probably deserves a him and Ralph Fiennes as well.
Yeah,
both deserve to be nodded for the and the guy from Men too. I mean, yeah, a lot of good movies.
And honestly, if anybody in the chat is thinking horror, it's not even an exaggeration. I mean, if you watch these movies, I mean, Ray Fiennes in The Menu, it's a better performance than people in dramas and other films that are getting nominations. So I know just because it's horror, but it's a fucking brilliant performance, and it's not even just line delivery. It's his faces he makes. There are scenes when he's in the, and I'll get to this more when I get to The Menu, but there are scenes like when he's in the background and you see faces that he's making, and it's like, holy shit. Like he's acting in every second of that movie, even when he's not completely on screen. And Sebastian Stan just kind of steals it in Fresh, just with his.
He does.
His over the top, but in the best way possible.
Yes.
In the best way possible. Not even like overacting, just like really just
you know what
like,
his performance reminded me of?
He's cheesing it for the cameras.
He gave us American Psycho in this.
Bingo.
Yeah.
He is. Absolutely like Christian Bale.
American Psycho. And he did it. He might have done it better than Christian Bale. He might have.
He's dancing in the kitchen and shit.
Oh my God.
It's fucking great.
And I love the romance between the two. They have incredible chemistry.
Yep, me too.
The house is amazing. I mean, there's just so much to love about this movie. I watched this when it first came on, and of course I was one of the ones that, like his mom, that were telling him to watch this. And I was glad he liked it as much as he did, because I think I would have been kind of disappointed. And I had seen it so long ago, I forgot some of the stuff that was in this film.
Yeah.
It blew me away. It did. This movie is freaking great. If you guys get a chance, definitely check out Fresh. It is so much fun.
And honestly, for some people, it will be genuinely disturbing in some scenes.
Yes.
Truthfully.
But there are some parts in it that are
Yeah.
kind of like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to give anything away, but
No.
yeah. All right. That's Fresh for me at number 13.
Right? Yep.
What you got for number 13?
Number 13 for me is Firestarter.
What?
Yep.
Oh, man.
I got Firestarter at 13. This is, of course, the remake from last year. I don't care if I sound like a broken record. I fucking love it. I love this
movie's
movie.
Great.
I love all these movies going forward here for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Firestarter, we'll be doing a positive spin for this as well coming up later this year.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away.
Firestarter, I would say, is probably the most underrated movie on this list.
Yep.
Only because it's not necessarily the most hated, but it's the most underrated in that it's either hated or neglected. It doesn't really seem to get any kind of positivity whatsoever. And honestly, I don't get it because let's be honest. If you put nostalgia aside, the original Firestarter is not all that exciting.
No.
I'm a big Stephen King fan, and I'm a fan of the original Firestarter. I am. And I talk about this a little in my positive spin video, so I don't want to say too much, but the original Firestarter, I actually have like a personal connection to it because when my wife and I were on our honeymoon, we got married in October. So when we were on our honeymoon in our hotel room, Fear Fest was on AMC. And the Stephen King marathon was playing like multiple times while we were there, and Firestarter was on like multiple times while we were having this great time. So I connect that movie with our honeymoon, and you know what I'm trying to say? So I have like extra sort of love for the movie.
I could have had so much fun with this if you would have told me this while we were watching it.
But
I could have had you rolling.
This is literally a better movie.
It is.
I'm sorry, but it is. And I'm saying this objectively, the remake is better than the original.
You know what? You said putting nostalgia aside, and I kind of thought about that for a minute. I was like, nostalgia. But there is a certain nostalgia to the original for me as well.
Yeah.
But you are 100% right. This is better. This is. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too much.
And say a lot on our positive spin, people. So we will say more about it.
It's still up a little bit for me.
If you get anything away from this stream when it comes to Firestarter, all we'll say now is give it a chance.
Yeah.
Seriously, do not listen to the hate. Go into it open-minded. Try not to be blinded by nostalgia for the original.
Yeah.
Seriously. Because
I never thought there was that much to begin with, but okay.
But apparently there is for some people, because for them to think that the original it's not fucking better. I'm sorry, but it's not.
No, not at all.
But yeah, we'll be talking more about this one in a positive spin, and we had a lot to say about it. So
yes, we did.
So yeah, that's number 13 for me. What do you got for number 12?
Number 12. All right. Number 12 was the movie that made me the most uncomfortable, and Fall.
Okay.
This movie for me is absolutely terrifying. I could have put this way higher. Because I thought it was such a great film.
This has bounced around for me too.
The problem with this is rewatchability, because I am scared. And don't get me wrong, it's the heights that freak me out. There were so many times where it made me get that feeling in your stomach when you go down on like a roller coaster or whatever.
Yep.
It just I don't even know what do they call that. I'm afraid of heights, and as I've gotten older, it's gotten worse. So where most people can watch it on a television and it not bother them, when I watch it on a television, I start to feel queasy. And this movie really messed with my head, 100%. So the thing I will say is, if you are afraid of heights and you like to be scared, because I like to be scared as well, that's why we watch horror movies. We try to find something that scares us. watch this movie. It is so freaking good, and there is a really good story to it behind it as well.
And I'll say a little bit more when I get to it, but I will
Yeah.
say this: I don't even have a fear of heights, and Fall is one of the scariest fucking movies I've ever seen. Because I'm one of those people who likes to put myself in the character's
Yes.
position. That's just how I watch any movie. Because
Never happened for me. Never happened.
and this is one of those cases where if somehow I was one of these characters in the movie, I don't know what the fuck I would do.
I would have died. I'd have fallen off. I'd have shit my pants and fallen right off, and everybody would have smelled me coming down.
But yeah, like I said,
I guarantee it.
I'll say a few more words when I get to it on mine. But yeah, so what's number 12 for you?
Yeah, like I said, it could have been a lot further, but
I get that. Yeah.
oh my god. Whew. Okay, I'm back. Even watching the cover of it just freaks me out.
My number 12 is The Menu.
Had a feeling. I knew it was going to be close to Fresh. I just didn't know.
Yeah. You know, I really thought about it. This was almost 11 actually. I was actually 11 up until like recently. I loved The Menu.
It's so good.
I also watched it twice, and this is one that sticks with me too. You know, I watched that first time, and when I watched it the first time, this is before we watched a lot of these other movies. I liked it so much that I was literally thinking it might end up making my top 10.
Yeah.
And it's close because it's number 12, and like I said, I almost made it number 11. It had the potential of being a top 10 of 2022 for me. And again, it makes sense because this is the highest rated movie on this list according to IMDb. So based on like the popular vote, this is the highest ranked one, which is interesting. But I get it because I think it can actually appeal to a lot of people.
It's a lot of different people in different ways.
That's what I mean. Yeah. And it's like, it's just a really well done horror satire. You know, it has its own message without being too in your face. You sort of have to just get it. And if you don't, you can still have a good time with it. But
Thank you,
for me, I love the location. The restaurant it's awesome. You know, the whole movie takes place in this one location, which is really cool. I don't know. I really like the look of the restaurant.
Me too.
I love how the pacing is. It's set up with all the courses. It's so perfectly done.
Yep.
It makes the movie fly by, and it's one of the longer movies on the list.
It is. It is.
But it flies by. And then again, I don't care how many times I have to say it. Ralph Fiennes is just fucking brilliant.
He is.
He literally deserved not only an Oscar nomination, but
he steals the show.
Win. He
steals the show in every way possible.
And again, not even when he's like in the center of the screen, he can be in the background, and you can just see his face from a reaction to what somebody else is doing in the scene.
Yep.
And it's not even focused on him, but he's acting 100% of the time. Like, I really do. I think it's a brilliant performance. Like, I could watch the movie just watching his performance alone.
Yeah.
And I would still enjoy it.
And he's not the only one, too. There are a lot of really good actors in this movie.
It was great seeing Judith Light in it. You know, Angela from Who's the Boss. It was really cool seeing her.
Yep.
Anya Taylor-Joy, obviously, she's having a kicking career right now. She's popping up at everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I love the movie. I love its message. I love the ending. I love the menu. There really wasn't anything I could say that I didn't like about the film, which is why I did rank it higher than Fresh, because I was going back and forth with those. And then I had Firestarter, which I was like, okay, I really want to rank this higher. So my reasoning for that was, let me have Firestarter separate the two. And I got to put Firestarter a spot higher and the menu above Fresh.
That makes sense. I just thought that these two, that Fresh and the menu went so well together.
I had them together.
I liked them almost as much as each other.
And that's the thing I do.
Yeah.
And then Firestarter, I just wanted it to be higher, but at the same time, I just kept thinking about the menu, and I don't know. I wanted the menu just to be, because I wanted the menu to almost be number 11, and then I dropped it down. I just couldn't see dropping it down any further.
Yeah. I look at my top 10 and I'm like, it's, I don't know. It's just, it's full of great films.
What do you got for number 11?
11, I have Barbarian. This was a weird one for me. I watched it when it first came out, and I liked it a lot.
Okay.
I just didn't think it was worth the hype because there's a transition in the middle. Then the second time I watched it with Joe, and I had a little bit of a issue, and it kind of ruined the rest of the film for me.
Not
So
with
I had
the
to go
movie,
back and
not
watch.
with the movie, but like
No,
interruption. Yeah,
no.
just so
I was
everybody's
watching
aware.
my daughter's dogs, and the dog peed on its crate, and I was just like, I was pissed off, and
Distraction.
yeah, big distraction. So I went back and I watched it again because I wasn't satisfied with it being as low as it is because it's a better movie than that. And I will say that I'm glad I did it because I have liked it a little bit more almost every time I've watched it, except for that second time because of the dog piss and all.
Yeah.
But this is a really, really good film. And I will still say, I don't want to spoil anything, but I like the first part of it better than the rest of it. But it's okay that the rest of it happened now. That probably doesn't make any sense because
No, well, I'm going to cover that a little bit too when I get to it, so we can discuss that a bit more.
Yeah,
when I get to it too.
But this is a really well made film. Really well made.
Number 11, right?
Yep, number 11. Hurt not to put it in the top 10, but like I said, my top 10 is just filled with great films.
Yeah.
The whole list is great films, except for like the last one.
I agree.
Well, the last couple.
Yeah.
2 or 3. But anyway, what's your number 11, Jeff?
My number 11 is Fall. So, for the same reason as you, this could have easily been a top 10 movie because, I mean, I was literally like shaking watching this movie because of my adrenaline. My adrenaline was pumping watching this film, and I don't even have a fear of heights, but it's still one of the scariest movies to me. Reminds me of something like Frozen from Adam Green.
Yeah. Yep.
Or even Buried with Ryan Reynolds. You kind of wonder, how can they carry a movie like this?
Yes.
And
but they do.
That was the one thing I was thinking. And my mom, this is another one my mom watched first, and she told me how great it was. I really liked it. You're gonna like it. She's like, trust me, like, it's a good story. And then when you're watching it and you realize, okay, it makes sense why they're up there. It's like, okay. That was like really the only hesitance I had with the film was like, how was it even going to make sense for them to be up there?
Yeah.
But it works. It makes sense when you watch the movie. It's very, very logical. But I have to say, this movie really, my adrenaline was pumping the entire time.
Yep.
There's also a certain twist in the movie that was like, holy shit.
I saw it coming though. I saw it coming.
I did to an extent, but like the way it was done was nice. It was a good way to do it.
No, wait a minute. I think we're talking about 2 different things. Yeah, the one that I didn't see that one coming. I think the one that you're talking about. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. So, yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but you're right. I didn't see that one coming, but the other one I saw coming because I told you about it earlier in the film.
Oh, yeah.
I just had a feeling, by the way they were talking. I
was talking about the support.
Yep, I know what it is now.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was like, holy shit.
Yep.
But anyway. Yeah.
It's a good movie. It really is.
But again, like you, the thing I have with it is I'm not sure I'm going to rewatch it as much as the others because it's a movie that, I mean, literally, like, I'm not going to be watching it like late at night when I want to be falling asleep because my heart starts pounding watching a movie like this.
Yep.
It's like, damn, even at this point, knowing what's going to happen, it doesn't matter. It's just that feeling how they did it. By the way, this movie was filmed on a 100-foot tower.
No shit, really?
So for everybody who thinks it was CGI, it wasn't. It was camera angles.
Oh my god.
So it just adds to it that they were doing this. It was pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's way higher than 100.
I didn't know that.
In the movie, it's meant to be thousands. It's like 2,000 or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's far. It's far.
It's like 2,000 feet, but in the movie, it's when when they filmed it, it was obviously less than that. It was like 100, but even still, I mean, they were up pretty high, and it's pretty cool that they filmed it like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hope you like the Verge.
this movie really impressed me. I
Yeah.
liked the cast. Jeffrey Dean Morgan has a role in this.
Yes, he
You
does.
have the main girl is one of the girls from Annabelle Creation, one of like the little popular girls in the orphanage.
Yep.
She's the main girl. Her friend, Motorboat Central. So yeah, I really liked it. Fall is number 11 for me.
Oh, that was great, Joe. All right. Number 10. All right. Number 10. Come on, man. Why you gotta do that to me? Number 10 is maybe the biggest surprise for me on this list, but it is Orphan First Kill.
Okay.
Okay, Joe and I did something I think that really benefited the both of us. We watched the original Orphan, and then we went and we watched this one,
Watched them
which
back to
I
back.
thought was a fantastic way of doing it because A, it reminded me of just how great the original was.
Mhm.
And B, this movie is freaking fantastic. And this takes a direction that I did not see coming. I did not see it coming. I think we both had our mouths hanging open for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This movie is done so well, and I really like it's really good. I don't know what else to say without spoiling some of it. I like the atmosphere. I like the location in the house. I like the family. I like the family.
Mhm.
I like the fact that there was a lot of continuity. I like the fact that they were able to do what I didn't think they were going to be able to do, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But this girl is older now, and they still made her look like a little girl.
Yep.
I just can't say enough good things about this. This movie impressed me. Like, I wanted to put it higher, but I couldn't. So, Orphan comes in at number 10. We're in our top 10 now. I love this movie. I freaking love this movie. So good. So good. What you got, Joe?
My number 10 is Prey.
I had a feeling.
So Prey is the second highest rated movie on this list according to IMDb, behind The Menu. Yeah, Prey. I think this one may have bounced around the most on my list. It was like higher, then it was a little bit lower, then it was higher again. So it landed here at number 10. I think it's a good spot for it. I can't see putting it any lower, but I can't see putting it any higher. Loved it. I'm a big Predator fan as it is. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
obviously I like some of them more than others, but I do. I love the Predator films. I love the Predator overall. I was telling you when we were watching this, when I was younger, I remember thinking like, if you could be any horror villain, who would you be? I remember thinking I'd probably be the Predator because I feel like he could just tear everybody up. I mean,
He's badass. He's
like
badass.
he's such a badass villain.
Yep.
He would be like my pick. I mean, I feel like if you want to be on a team with anybody, you see those things online, like, like there's like 10 different horror villains, pick one of them to protect you, and then the rest of them are trying to kill you. I think I would pick the Predator to protect me.
Probably.
I feel like he would be the one to be able to take out Michael Myers and Jason and everything else,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so Predator would be my pick.
That shit on him where he would disintegrate him.
Yeah. Prey for me is probably now my second favorite, of the Predator movies, if not my favorite. I fucking loved it. I love the original, and then probably this one. But I don't know. Rewatchability it has.
Yeah, definitely.
I love the main character. I love the way they did it with the whole the whole tribal aspect of it.
Yep.
I think that was great. I don't really have a reason for it being this low. Even though it's number 10, it's still high in a list of 30. It's
The
just
only
that
thing you can say is that it was just a great year.
it really was.
Yeah.
I wish I could rank a lot of these higher.
Yeah.
But this is part of that list of movies that I'll be watching over and over again.
Yep.
Like I loved it, so all of these are going to be like constant rewatches for me.
Yeah.
And Prey just happens to land here at number 10.
Yeah. So number 9
Prey?
is Prey. This is another one I watched, and sometimes you forget that you like a movie as much as you do. That
Hey,
happened with
Heroic
me.
Waffles, how you doing? Sorry.
Hey, Hero. That happened with a couple movies like Fresh. It also happened with Prey, and I watched it for the second time with Joe for our ranking, and it's just a blast. It is a blast from start to end. I don't really know what to say other what you've already said. I mean, I love the tribal aspect of it. I love the fact of her and her family, the dynamic.
Good night, Royce.
Good night, Royce. I love the fact that they brought other antagonists in.
Yep, love that.
Which created a bigger body count. But man, is it badass?
Yeah, it's like a massacre at the end.
Yes.
And I love the look of the Predator in it.
Yes. Yep. 100%. Wow, this movie is just amazing, and I remember telling you this when we were watching it. This is the perfect name for this film. It doesn't have to say Predator 4, doesn't have to say Predator in the past or whatever it is, Tribal Predator or whatever.
I guess technically it would be Predator 5 if you don't include the aliens.
I guess, yeah, but the name is brilliant for this.
I agree.
Yeah. Oh my god, such a good movie. All right, I'll stop gushing. That was my number 9.
Yep.
Yeah. Your number 9?
My number 9. We just swapped. My number 9 is Orphan First Kill.
Yep.
Yeah. This one was higher. Again, other movies came into its place. This fucking blew me away.
Yeah.
My son and my mom had watched this one first. They did the same thing we did. They watched Orphan again, and then they watched Orphan First Kill.
They did?
They did them back to back. Yeah.
Okay. The perfect way to do it too.
I didn't want anything spoiled for me, so the only thing I asked my son was, I said, "Listen, the original Orphan is known for its twist. It has one of the greatest twists like ever."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Does Orphan First Kill have a twist?" And I said, "Without spoiling it, can you at least tell me that?" And he said, "There's definitely a twist, and something happens that's going to make you wonder, now what?" And
yep.
that's exactly the perfect way to sum it up, because something happens in this movie where you're like, holy shit. And after you pick up your jaw from the floor, it really does become a different movie.
Yeah, it does.
And it's like, wow. And
smart.
This is the equivalent to me of, all right, I'm a big fan of How I Met Your Mother, the TV show, that show was on for 9 seasons. For 8 seasons, they built up the mother. And when the reveal finally happened, it could have been a make or break moment, because they built it up so much that it was like, okay, this can ruin the show if they do this wrong. And you're sort of expecting, and this was kind of like the equivalent of this, because you had this huge twist in the first Orphan. So it was like, Orphan First Kill, if they're going to do a twist, they better make sure it fucking counts.
Yep.
And just like How I Met Your Mother, if they fucking picked the best person to be the mother, and it was like, it just made the show better. And that is exactly what happened here with Orphan First Kill.
Yep.
They made this twist something you did not see coming, and when it happens, it's like, wow.
Exactly.
It blows your mind.
Just said, what now?
And it does. It was just brilliant. I loved this movie so much.
Me too.
I want more.
Yeah.
I really do. Whether it be in between somehow, or just fucking make her be alive at the end of the first Orphan. They can make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, they could actually.
They could.
Yeah. Yep.
So I loved it. I really was. I really was blown away by this.
Very smart. If you're going to do a prequel, how do you do a prequel for someone who gets older and they just it's amazing.
And
really
also,
is.
it's cool. It's always cool seeing Julia Stiles in roles now too. She was
Yeah,
a big thing back in the day,
she was
and
really good in this.
I love seeing her in different stuff now. Yeah, she was.
Yep.
I really
Really
like
good in
by
this.
the way, too. I really like the dad in this. I don't think I've seen him in anything else.
Me too.
I think he was great. I really love how he played the role.
Yeah, me too.
He had like this restrained jubilation, this restrained relief. He played it off really well.
Yeah.
Loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, me too. And I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
What do you got
Yeah,
for
I
number?
agree. I agree, Dan.
What do you got for number 8?
Number 8 is where you broke my heart. No. Firestarter at number 8.
Okay.
This movie, Joe pretty much said everything, but this movie is brilliant. It is better than the original. It's just great.
Yep.
I don't want to say too much about it because we are doing a positive spin on
spin.
it, and I do not understand why this movie gets hate.
Nope.
I'm at a loss. I am. I'm at a loss.
You and me both.
I was not expecting much. I picked this up Black Friday sale. So did Joe. And we even put off watching it.
I know. It was one of the last ones we watched.
And that's because I listen to people. I listen to people constantly crap on this movie. Whatever. It's great. This movie is great. Don't listen to people. Don't keep the first one in your mind, but look at this as a reboot.
Yep.
That's actually better than the original.
It is.
Yeah. And number 8 for you?
Number 8 for me. To all you haters out there, Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Wow, this one was really high.
Listen, I got one word: rewatchability.
Yeah.
Truth be told, as much as I love the movies that we just talked about, Jeepers Creepers Reborn, first of all, has a short runtime.
It does.
Jeepers Creepers Reborn is a movie that I'm going to watch when I rewatch the other Jeepers Creepers movies that I enjoy. Jeepers Creepers Reborn is also a Jeepers Creepers movie that I'm going to watch on its own because it can also be a standalone. Jeepers Creepers Reborn is also a movie I'm going to watch when I want to see a cool horror movie setting because it has that.
Yep.
Jeepers Creepers Reborn is a movie I'm going to watch when I want to see a cool horror movie setting that's an awesome slasher film.
Yep.
There is so much to love about Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Yep.
What I don't understand about this movie is that people can talk about, the CGI, I get it, all right? The budget, COVID, all that. I get it. I'm not saying I disagree with that. But the CGI really makes this one of the worst horror films of all time. The CGI gives this a 2.5 rating out of 10 on IMDb.
Yep.
That is an absolute fucking bullshit rating. 2.5 is low for even a movie like Monos or Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah.
This is not even in the same, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed those. I had fun with those movies, but this isn't even in the same league with something like that.
This is a really good film.
The fact that a horror fan can watch Jeepers Creepers Reborn and not find anything enjoyable about it, not even the setting, that doesn't entertain you, the horror hound setting, the escape room at the haunted house,
the constant references to other horror movies,
all the horror homages, the slasher formula. If you're just a slasher fan in general, there should be plenty to like about Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Yep.
So I'm sorry I don't get it. This is also the movie, I'll repeat it here, I say it in my positive spin. This is the movie I reviewed before it first came out. I had a screener. The movie hadn't even been released yet. I had hundreds of people commenting, talking about how this movie was trash, this movie was shit, that I should die for liking it. Literally, this is what they said. And they hadn't even seen it yet because it wasn't out. So unless all of these hundreds of people had a screener too, which I very much doubt, they were literally just following the sheep. And they were just saying what they wanted to say. And the reason why I know they hate it, they didn't watch it, is because they were talking about Victor Salva being connected. And Victor Salva has nothing to do with Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Except for the reference to the characters that he did. That's
exactly.
All. That's it.
Exactly.
And that's actually only, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just leave that one alone. But yeah, that's it.
I do feel this is one of those movies where, you know what, if people hate it, I think they haven't seen a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. I don't mean that to be insulting, because if somebody considers this to be one of the worst horror movies they've ever seen, then they have not seen enough horror.
Yeah. The reason why it was so low for me is because it was such a great year.
I just, I don't know. I'll never understand it. I mean, again, I can understand it being all right. You know what? If you can say it's your least favorite Jeepers Creepers movie, fine. But to
It's
say
not
you
mine.
hate it, it's not mine either. I know, but I'm saying I can at least understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. It
But
is
the
what
fact
it is.
that people are hating it as much as they are, people actively hate this one. Like another movie coming up on our list, they go out of their way. They go out of their way to make sure they call it their clever term, like dumpster fire and hot trash. You know, they're so fucking smart. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those movies that it's like, get over it. It's not that bad. Please get over it. I'm sorry, but it's not that bad.
I agree.
So it's number 8 for me, because this is a movie I'm going to watch a lot more than the others. It's just the fact. And I'm going to say this too. It's also my son loves it. It is one of his favorites of the year too.
Is it really?
And he hasn't seen all of these yet, like we have. So it may end up being maybe in the same place that I have it here, but he loves this movie. He had a great time watching it, and honestly, I think he gets more pissed about this one than any of the others getting insulted, because he feels the same way. He's like, really? Like, people are really going to trash it this much? Like, stop. It seems like it feels very over the top. It feels very like exaggerated when people hate this movie. Like, there's nothing boring about this fucking movie. Like, you can say you don't like the CGI, fine, but do you not like the character that's a horror nerd just like us? Do you not like all the cosplay stuff? Do you not like the setting? Do you not like the kills? What don't you hate?
Well, this is 19 out of 33 or 34 for me, so that's not too bad, because I like this actually better than the other movies I watched, even Goodnight Mommy.
The Horror 3 did bring back Trish. The Horror 180. He said, "I get being nostalgic for." All right, see, you know what? See, like that's I'm fine with that. What I have an issue with is the people who there were literally people who were telling me my opinion was trash because I liked Jeepers Creepers Reborn, and that I should be disgusted with myself because of Victor Salva. The same people who were saying this, keeping in mind that Victor Salva had nothing to do with Reborn, the same people saying this were talking about how Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 were so much better. So they love the movies that Victor Salva directed, even though I'm trash for liking 4 because it has something to do with him, even though
it had nothing to do with absolutely nothing, you know what I mean? To do with him. Yeah, you're right.
But it's like, exactly. She had that cameo with him, which I think was awesome in part 3. I like all of them. Like I said, as of right now, 2 is my least favorite, but I do need to revisit it. But right now we're talking about part 4 and Jeepers Creepers Reborn. I don't just like it. I love Jeepers Creepers Reborn. And
I love all 4 of them.
If people aren't going to enjoy it, it's their loss. I have a lot of fun with it. I feel like there's a lot to love about it.
It's my third favorite.
Again,
between 2 and 3, it can switch between 2 and 3.
Yeah. Good night, Dan. All right, buddy.
Good night, Dan.
Yeah, we're going on a long time here, but hopefully people go back and finish watching it. Yeah, I do. I loved it. But yeah, let's go on to number 7 now. What do you got for number 7?
I broke your heart. I did. For 7, I have Texas.
Okay. Good. We have the
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
We have the same one, number 7.
Do we?
Yep.
No shit. Man, this was a good movie.
So this came out in February, right, of last year. You and I watched it twice in the same day.
Yes, we did.
We both watched it twice. When this movie came out, and obviously it was early in the year, I was literally thinking, Jesus, this is going to be one of the best horror films of the year.
It's number 7.
And you know what? Technically, it still is. It's number 7.
Yeah, number
but it
7.
just shows you that there are still 6 more movies that we prefer to it. But again, this was a movie that got a ton of love in like the first 48 hours, and then suddenly everyone started shitting on it.
Yep.
But what more do you want in a reboot slasher?
Yeah.
Because this movie brings back the original final girl, and it's not the same actress, but it's not their fault because she was dead in real life.
Yeah.
They bring back the original actress, and I think they did a good job with casting her. I think she's believable as Sally.
I think so too.
You know
And
what I
I
mean?
like the message that it sent. I like the message that they were going for on this one.
Yep. And I really like the setting of this one. I like the whole the whole ghost town setting. I like that you have characters that you're supposed to not like. Like I don't want to spoil too much for anybody who hasn't seen it, but there's a certain thing that happens, and instead of painting the characters that other movies would normally paint in the best way possible,
Yep.
they make them wrong.
Yep.
And I like that. It's like good. That's exactly what happens. And in some ways they get what's coming to them. I like that we have a sort of heroic character that is my favorite character in the movie.
Mine too.
And he's a real badass, I have to say. Despite what happens and stuff, he's an awesome character. I like the message I like the gun message. I do. I know people are going to disagree, but I do. And the movie shows exactly why you should see both sides of the argument.
Yep.
And I think
It did a very good job with that too.
I think it does a perfect job.
Yep.
Doing that, because you have the main character. This shouldn't be much of a spoil. It's a year old now. The main character prior to the movie was in a school shooting. So her and her sister are like dead set against guns. But they find themselves in a predicament with Leatherface, and they realize, I need to defend myself with a gun.
Exactly.
So it shows you that if the right people have them, they can be used in self-defense, which is what they're for.
Yep.
Just because the wrong people use them doesn't mean we need to take them away from the right people.
Yep.
There are people who need to. I'm not trying to have a lecture here. I'm just I'm a big believer in the Constitution, and I'm not trying to get into all that. But again, I think the movie shows both sides.
It does.
You can understand why they have their hate for guns at the beginning. I get it. Where they were victims of a gun crime, it makes sense. I can understand that. You're going to feel that way. But at the same time, I like that they open up their minds later in the film and realize, okay, listen, I need to do what I have to do. So I just appreciate that message. I love what they did with Sally.
Me too.
Again, without spoiling that too much.
I love the short runtime.
Love the short runtime. I love Leatherface in this movie.
Yeah, me too. He's a big dude.
Yep.
He is a really, really big dude. And I like the setting being the old town. I think that's really it's really a cool setting, and not something that we're used to getting in movies like this. Kind of like a ghost town in a way.
Verge, the quality of this one is pretty good as far as I remember, right?
Oh yeah, you did a hell of a job.
Verge,
I know the Stinky Tuna put it out though.
Verge. I'd love to, just for discussion's sake, I would love to know, specifically, you say could be better. I'd love to know specifically, and I guess I agree. But at the same time, I'm one of those people who believes that any movie could be better. I'm just.
Yeah, your movie's perfect.
I'm one of those people, even the movies that I love, that I find almost perfect. Every movie has a flaw. Every movie has flaws. It's just the way it's going to be. So, while I completely respect you saying that, I'm someone you probably never really hear say that, because I feel like you can say that about anything. Yeah. I can talk about my favorite movie ever and say, it's not perfect. It has flaws. It could be better, because you can literally say that about everything. So, at the end of the day, I try to just appreciate what the movie does give us and not what it doesn't give us.
Yeah, we had a hell of a year. Like you said it before. We got a Scream sequel or reboot or whatever. We got Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We got
another Predator. We got another Halloween. We got Firestarter.
It's amazing.
Amazing. Hellraiser.
Yeah.
For me, this Texas Chainsaw Massacre is probably in my top 3 of the franchise.
It's close for me.
I know it was for you at one point. I know it was for you at one point. Yeah, when we talked about it.
Well, this is one that I actually, not that I always liked it. I always liked it a lot. But it's one I forgot how much I liked until we watched it again.
That's the thing.
Because I hadn't seen it in a while.
Watching it again, it
Oh my
reminds me
God.
why I have it in my top 3 of that franchise.
Yep.
Because it's true. Because again, it's another one rewatchability wise. This is one that I'm going to watch often. This is a fun movie. Come on, the bus kill scene alone, it's so fucking amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, I love part 3. I love part 3 a lot, and this is one of the things where I'd have to watch them all again in order to rank them properly. I love 4. I love 4.
I do
think
too.
4 is great.
I do too.
This is probably one. I'm gonna be honest. I think you got me with the top 3 because this is probably one I would put on before I would put on some of the other ones.
Me too.
So,
exactly. That's exactly why.
Yeah, you're right. You're
as
right.
much as I love the others, this is one that I would put on before the others.
Yeah, and I have put this on in the background and done other stuff.
And
Just
and again, not that it's like the most important thing, but a short runtime does also give it that rewatchability, because there might be times when you only have, say, 90 minutes to spare, and you need all 90 of those minutes. So throwing on an hour and 20-minute movie gives you that extra 10 minutes to get ready to go wherever you need to do. So instead of throwing on another one, I'm throwing on this one. You know,
I understand what you're saying, Verge. I mean, sometimes we want more from things. I know I wanted more from Pearl, and Smile was just gone from
no,
me.
I
I
get
wanted
it.
more from
I get it,
Bodies.
I get it, Verge. I guess I'm just saying, for discussion's sake, I'm always curious as to what people, not necessarily expected, but what people wanted then. Because, like, not necessarily this movie, but in a way this movie. Because you know what? When this movie came out, and I have to say, and I know it's been a year, but you and I both, Jason, when this movie came out, and again, I'm not knocking anybody, and I completely respect anybody who did want more or wanted something different. That's perfectly fine. But when this movie came out, you and I both, we got a little ticked off with the people who were shitting on this one.
Yeah.
And you and I both said it. We both said it. We said, what more do these people fucking want?
Yeah, that's true.
We
a slasher movie,
because honestly, and I honestly do still feel that way. And again, I can respectfully disagree with anybody who did want more. But for me, it checked all the boxes for me.
Yeah.
All that I could have, if somebody asked, what could you want more from this TCM movie, I would say, I don't know, gratuitous nudity.
It's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
But other than that, it's fucking extremely fast paced.
Yeah, it is.
I think this movie flew by faster than the others.
Other
than maybe Sick, because that's so short. This movie flew by.
This one's close though.
You have a new cast. You have a new cast of both likable and unlikable characters, which I like, because there are some characters you want to see die, and there's some characters that you don't. I like fact. I love that they have the old school mentality with bringing back Sally, but not having her dominate the film. I love that. It was shot well. The kills are awesome. Leatherface is awesome. The kill is the ending is fucking amazing. I love the ending of this.
I love the bus scene, man.
I love the setting. I love the bus scene.
Bag of chips. I mean,
there's literally nothing more that I can think of other than joking around saying gratuitous nudity. There's really nothing more I can think of and say, what more would I want from a slasher reboot? This movie just nailed it for me. It really did.
Yeah. If I could have changed one thing about it, I would make the badass guy live a little bit longer. But
exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. But that's like being nitpicky. You know what I mean? I feel the same way. But in the way it happened, it's like it works, because at least he didn't go out like a bitch. Like, he went out like a fucking badass. You know what I mean?
He got fucked up too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right. We're on number 6.
Number 6.
What do you got?
Huh. You didn't like the Sally character.
He did like the Sally. So I did.
He did? Oh, I did like the Sally character. Oh boy, I'm acting like somebody else.
All right, so here's the thing, Verge. We talked about this, the whole stylized thing, okay? This is my argument with the remake and the beginning, which everybody loves. And now, listen, I'm going to be honest. I fucking loved the remake when it came out. I fucking loved it. I did. Over time, TCM the beginning and the remake are my bottom two for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't like them because I like all the movies in this franchise.
Me too.
But it's funny to me, and I'm not saying you because I don't know how you feel about those, but there are other people, who complain about the same thing about the new TCM, saying it's too stylized, but then they love the remake and they love the beginning. For me, the remake and the beginning feel very stylized. They're very Hollywood. It's Michael Bay trying to give that old rural raw setting, but you can tell it's fake. It's like that exaggerated, like it's like trying to do the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it takes me out of those films. It feels too polished for me, those two.
And you also said the same thing about the Friday the 13th remake too.
Exactly. The exact same reason. Now, the reason why I'm okay with it with 2022 is because it's not trying to be like the original. This is a modern day movie. This is a movie set in 2021 when it was filmed. So it's not going to look like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm okay with it. Whereas the remake in the beginning are supposed to be set back in the 70s. So if it did look like that, it wouldn't feel it would feel fake for me. I just feel like it's more realistic like this. And I think they did a good job with by doing in the ghost town setting, it makes it feel like isolated enough without feeling too new. You know what I mean? Like it kind of has like that balance for me.
Yeah.
And that's just why I'm okay with that. Like I feel like they had enough of the ruralness, you know, with Sally's house, with the setting in the field, you know, with the truck crash, when you see Leatherface put the mask on. I love that. Again, that's just me. That's just my opinion. That's why I'm okay with that. That's why for me, I really didn't need a different setting. I liked it a lot. Yeah. All right. Good. So so that makes sense then, Verge. Exactly. It makes perfect sense. My issue is with the people who say one about the other. You know, I think one's too polished, but not the others. I feel like if anything, the others are way too polished when they're not supposed to be. That's the difference.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6.
Number 6 is Scream.
All right, good. We have the same one.
Really?
Yep.
I thought for sure you were going to put this higher.
Huh. I would love to, but I can't. There's just nothing I could put it above.
Yeah, this is kind of dark, isn't it? You can't really see it that well. Let's see what this does. Can't see that either. All right. Anyway, this movie's fantastic. It felt like a perfect sequel to Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4. It still gave you what you wanted with the being different enough to be a part of the series.
Yep.
And that's what kind of got me about the movie. And the kills are so freaking brutal.
So Scream, this is like the horror equivalent for me of Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick, and now Clerks 3. They are a bunch of movies that manage to somehow be a sequel, yet somehow be a reboot. Like it incorporates remake, like they are like the perfect examples of reboots where they do enough to bring in the original fans, but they also do stuff to bring in new fans.
Yep.
And that's what I love about this new Scream.
This movie blew me away. It really did. Which is probably why. Oh wow! I never looked at the inside, Joe.
Really?
Wow.
Verge, same for me. The original is my favorite, and then Scream 5, and then Scream 3 for me.
Scream 3 is my favorite still. It's always been my favorite.
1, 5, 3 is my ranking.
1, 5, 3. Okay.
Yep.
Mine's 3, 1, 5. Yeah. I love Part 3. You know how I feel about Part 3. Part 3 just bowled me over last time I watched it.
Well, behind Phantasm, Scream is my favorite franchise overall. I think it's the
most consistent.
It's the most consistent franchise there is.
Yep.
And so for me, I mean, my least favorite is Scream 4, and I fucking love Scream 4.
Yeah.
So
Scream
the fact,
really good.
you know what I mean? It's like almost the equivalent of me ranking the Phantasm movies. Even my last place movie is a movie that I love, like wholeheartedly.
and they all kind of run in the same storyline, so you can't
Yep.
have one without the other.
Exactly.
Yeah, you need it. You need it. And yeah, see now, I completely agree with you, even though it made me sad, Verge. I completely agree. It gets points for killing off a main character.
And I love who it was
Yep.
that did it. I love the killer that did it.
Yes, me too.
Because I just think it's like, damn, it's the one you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
And
The movie's so smart. It's so freaking smart.
I am looking forward to Scream 6 more than
Hell
any other movie
Hell
this
yeah.
year. It is my most highly anticipated film of this year.
I don't know. Between that and Evil Dead.
Have you watched the trailer?
Huh?
You haven't watched the trailer?
No, but look, just like you said before, Joe, Scream is probably the most consistent.
No, but
franchise.
the point I'm trying to make is right now you're saying I don't know if it's between that and Evil Dead. I'm saying if you had to watch the trailer, I think you might be like, "Yup, it's Scream." No, I'm saying because that's what did it for me. I watched the trailer and I was like, "Holy shit! This could potentially be the best Scream film."
I hope so. I do.
Looks,
I'm really looking forward to it.
It looks incredible.
Yeah, I don't want to see anything about it because I want to be completely surprised when I go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, number 5. What do you got?
All right, number 5 is Sick.
Okay.
This movie is from start to finish absolutely blew me away. And I think a lot of people aren't going to like it because it takes a mirror and it holds it up to the people's face, and I don't think they're going to like the truth. And that's one of the things I said about, I mean, in a way, I wish people hated this movie. I mean, I don't know if they do or not, but there's so many things I could say about this on a positive spin that I just think that when you hold a mirror up to somebody's face, and I've noticed that in the movies that we've gotten in the past 2 to 3 years, nobody wants to hear the truth. And whether they acknowledge that it's the truth or not, it's there.
Yep.
And it's subconsciously, I think that's what puts people over the top with these.
Yep.
So, and I am guilty of some of the things in this myself. And I don't want to spoil anything about it. And point a mirror up to my face and I'll fucking love it all day long because it's so ironic.
You know what, at this point, I'm not trying to spoil anything. Well, here's the thing. If anybody knows me and the fact of what I said about this earlier, then they kind of can suspect certain things about it.
Yeah.
So I will say for me, it was pleasing because it was very much an I told you so kind of experience.
Yes.
Because, and again, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I hate being that type of person.
I know.
But
I know.
We can go back 3 years ago at this point already, when I sat here on our stream, on our Super Slash Brothers stream, talking about this stuff and having people in our chat making fun of me and arguing with me because of things I was saying. And over this last, year, things have proven to be true that I said.
Yeah, that's true.
This movie kind of plays on that without going too far into it, but just says enough where it's like, hey guys,
Hey, remember what it was like back then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that about it because it's like good. At least it's like it needed to be said.
Here's the bad news. Okay. Here's the bad news about this film for anyone who wants to watch it now. I think you'll really enjoy it. But this movie is not going to hold up well, say maybe 10 years from now.
No, but it will be a curious piece of history. It'll be a curious thing to watch because of history. But it won't be one that you can watch like regularly.
With me, it will be because it's a slasher movie and I fucking love it.
Well, yeah. But I'm saying most people it won't, yeah.
See, that's the thing. I love the fact that it held a mirror up to people's faces, number one. I love the fact that it's a slasher movie, number two. I love the characters. Even though I don't like some of them, I still love them that I don't like them.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
I get it. No,
I just think it's brilliant. This fucking movie is brilliant. When you
loved it when we were watching it. You were fucking
loving
it.
And I still do. I still do. And I'm going to say this: when you're a musician and you hear an incredible song and it just completely inspires you, and you say, Jesus Christ, I wish I would have written that song.
Yeah.
I wish I would have made this movie. I wish I would have written the script for this movie. It is so smart.
And credit to Kevin Williamson.
I from now on, I mean, I loved all the Scream movies and all that he did, and I loved Dawson's Creek. I loved I Know What You Did Last Summer, even though that's become a joke now as well. Anything else he writes, I'm in.
Yep.
I'm in 100%.
Oh, yeah.
He has completely shown to me that I think he's a genius.
You know why? Because he recognized, like, even with the Scream movies, he recognizes what society is at that time, what life is like at that time.
Yep.
And he uses it realistically in his films.
Yep.
So
now this, I don't think is going to have the shelf life that the Scream movies have.
It won't, but I think this film was needed.
Yeah, I think so too. I do. I love this movie. I fucking love that movie. I fucking love that movie. I really do. From start to finish, it had me going. In the very beginning, I was like, oh boy, what's going to happen here?
Yep. And
then, oh my God, when it was revealed, I was just like, I was ready to throw the thing up and go, all right, fuck me, I'm done. Yeah. So yeah, I just, I love that movie.
And even after that, that's only number 5 for you.
I know. It was, nah, it couldn't have taken number 4. Number 4 is where it is for a reason.
All right.
But yeah, what's your number 5?
I'm going to try to speed through these next 4 because I know we're going to want to talk a lot about number 1.
Yes.
So, all right. So my number 5 is Hellraiser.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. This was number 4 for like ever. Prior to something else, this was number 3. This was like a high one. You know, I was fucking loving this. I'm going to be honest. Last year, this was coming out like, remember, this came out like right before Halloween Ends. And yeah, it did. It came out before Halloween Ends.
It did?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like summer. Well, it was still a little warm outside, I guess. I'm trying to remember.
It was like September or October it came out.
Okay. Yeah, Terrifier 2 came out same time.
I think actually it was October. It was came out in October.
Yeah.
Last year. Now this is before, Halloween Ends came out, before I could see Halloween Ends and everything like that. I was looking forward to this Hellraiser movie more than Halloween Ends at that point. I don't know why. I just had seen I saw like the previews or images from it, and I was just like, this looks like it's going to be like a Hellraiser movie. It looks like it's going to feel like a Hellraiser. I was just like so anxious to check this out. And then when it finally got released, I think it was like October 7th. It came out, and I was fucking blown away, and it was like worth the wait. Why do you look confused?
Because this is your number 5. Now I must have put something away that. All right, keep going. I'm sorry.
I absolutely loved it. This to me is my third. I know it's higher for you, but as far as the Hellraiser franchise goes, this is my third favorite Hellraiser movie. Now, with that being said, I grew up watching the Hellraiser movies.
So did I.
I saw Hellraiser 3 in theaters. I rented Hellraiser and Hellbound countless times. Those were some of my most rented movies when I was young.
Really?
Absolutely. 100% rented them more than like anything. I will always have one, Hellraiser and Hellbound, like as my top 2 favorite Hellraiser movies, but this is a close fucking third. Like, this to me is the perfect companion piece to those two, because this Hellraiser is a little bit of Hellraiser and a little bit of Hellbound. Like, that's what this is.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It is. Right it literally remakes both of those movies. It just puts them together.
Yep.
And I love how
I didn't notice that until you just said it, but I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. It actually is.
Think about the ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, guys, that thing on Jason's arm is because he jerks off too much.
The Hellraiser.
But yeah, to me, it is the perfect combination of the two. And again, it does enough for the original Hellraiser fans and does enough to bring in new fans. And I just think it was so well done. I really liked Jamie Clayton as the Hell Priest. By the way, she is not Pinhead. She is the Hell Priest. That's what she's credited as. People call it Pinhead, and I get it, but she's not really credited as Pinhead. I think she was fantastic. I really like the voice. I do. You know what?
Yes.
Uh, we
Mm.
have such sights to show you. Don't get me wrong. Doug Bradley saying it is iconic, but I feel like it's almost as iconic her saying
Yep.
it. The way
And
she
that's a
says it,
tough
I
thing
don't
to
know
do,
what it is,
dude.
but
That is a tough thing to do.
the way she pronounces it. Oh, and that scene. It's the way the music hits in that scene too.
Yep.
Like the score hits and the way
Can
she
you
says it.
just think about how hard that is? That's one of his main lines.
Yep, and she pulls it off.
And she, yeah, I was blown away. I was blown away.
And you know what? This movie, and I honestly, I've always felt this way about the original Hellraiser movie because, in not in the sense where it's like, oh my god, I'm so scared, but when you really think about being in that situation,
Yeah.
it's a genuinely scary concept.
Yeah.
And I feel like this one almost makes it scarier because of the way it happens.
Yep.
Because a lot of these people are innocent in it,
And they can't get out. They
and
can't get
and
away.
that is the point. All right, so the scene where they're trying to drive away, you can't fucking do anything. There's
Nope.
nothing you can do. And that's fucking scary to me because
You're
it's like, what do you
trapped.
do?
Yeah.
You can't get away
Yep.
from them, or even the hospital scene. Like there, you can't get away.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're just trapped with the high priest or even in part 2 with Pinhead.
Nope, they
You're
surround you.
trapped. You're trapped with
done.
everybody. You're
You're done.
fucked.
You can't get away.
You're fucked.
And
The only way to actually make progress is to do exactly what she did at the end.
so this is
That's
my
it.
number 5. Is this your number 4?
This is my number 4. This
All
has
right.
been my number 4 and almost switched with Sick.
Yeah.
And then I thought about Hellraiser again.
Mm.
Look, I know. Look, I grew up watching Hellraiser as well. It was always pegged as, at the time, the first one was pegged as one of the most extreme horror movies of the time. Of course, we knew that's not true now, but it was close. It was close.
Listen, back then I owned the original Hellraiser because I eventually got the tape, and I was the house. My friends would come and sleep over, and I'd be like, "All right, I'm going to show you this movie, but you can't tell anybody." My mom would be like, "Don't." My mom would be like, "Whatever you do, don't go home and tell your mom that you washed this hair. That's all we need." And my friends would. I had this one friend who went back, "Hey, mom, we watched this movie called Hellraiser, and it has this guy with pins in his head." It's like, oh, great.
Yeah, wonderful. And I tell you what, I remember specifically, I have a lot of good memories surrounding Hellraiser, but this is my Hellraiser. This did everything for me that the other ones didn't.
I get it.
I feel bad about saying that because the first 2 movies and part 3 as well, for me, are iconic. But this is my Hellraiser. This movie completely flipped me as far as a eternal Hellraiser fan.
Yeah, I get
it. It changed everything for me. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch the original films differently.
Which I do want to do. I want to do like a ranking for
them. Yeah, hell yeah. But I'm telling you what. Well, I'll reserve that until I watch the rest of them again. Well, I started to say before, when I graduated high school, we were watching Hellraiser the day after my graduation when we had a party the night before. Mm-hmm. I remember watching Hellraiser and all of us being like hungover. And it's just such a good memory. I mean, it's weird. It probably doesn't sound like it, but it was such a good memory. I just remember Hellraiser amped up the blood and gore.
Yeah.
Higher. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I still like the originals, but this one is just so damn good. So damn good. When I watched it for the first time, that I went back and I watched the last hour of it again.
I know.
It blew me away.
Yep.
It just completely blew me away. All right, what's your number 4? I feel like I've wasted enough time.
This is the last one that we have different now because our top 3 is the same.
Yeah.
So my number 4 is Barbarian.
That's right. That's the one.
Yeah, I watched this movie maybe the most other than our number 1. At this point, I've watched this one a lot. There is just something that is so rewatchable for me. And I
It
think
does have a lot of rewatchability. You're right.
I think it's the change in the tones and stuff, because you
Maybe.
almost feel like you're watching an anthology. And I love anthologies, and I know you do too.
Yeah.
And after you kind of get by it the first time with that jarring change, that jarring shift, then you know what to expect. It's like, okay, now I'm in this. And there is just something about I don't want to give it away for anybody who hasn't seen it, but the location,
Yes.
okay? There is something about that and those that really resonates with me, because I literally have dreams about stuff like that.
I would love to get into a conversation, spoiler conversation with you about how that was done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know how it was done. Don't get me wrong,
Mm.
but it's just like it's amazing. It's just how long that must have taken. I mean,
know.
Oh my God.
And like I said, that just for some reason it just resonates with me, because I feel like I've seen that before in my dreams. But it's like it's exactly what nightmares are made out of.
Yeah.
And so watching Barbarian, it's like, okay, it gets it right in that sense. People want to watch horror movies that gives them nightmares. In my case, I like to watch horror movies that remind me of my nightmares that I already had.
Yep.
And this is one of them. I love the characters in this, even though there's one, and not to say that I love how the characters act,
Right.
but I like what's done with the characters.
Look,
Listen,
I know exactly what you're talking about, and
Yeah.
the second character that showed.
Yep.
I think he is so important
Absolutely.
to the story. I didn't like. I don't want to spoil it.
The problem here is
Yeah.
the first 47 minutes. The first 47 minutes have this amazing
Yep.
chemistry.
That's what gets me about it.
So when things change, it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
The first time you watch it, especially. And then upon rewatches, because you know what's happening, it's like, okay, you kind of get more prepared for it.
It's better with rewatches.
It is, and that's why,
Yeah,
like I said,
yeah.
for me, I've watched this second most to our number one, and it's one that I will continue to watch again and again, because I like it more and more each time. And it's also weird. It's one of those movies that I already feel like I know it by heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some movies that just really, like, you just remember every little detail.
Yeah.
I love that Richard Brake is in this,
Yes, me too.
and I absolutely fucking love the way this movie ends.
Yeah.
When the song hits, it just...
The only one that's better is number one.
Yep, exactly. But
Yep.
it reminds me of that because it's the perfect song placement, and the
Yep.
way that it happens, the cut, the way it just cuts, and it's like, oh, there's the song. It's fucking perfect.
Yep.
So yeah, Barbarian for me is number 4. Again, because I'm just going to keep rewatching this over and over again. By the way, my mom, even though she hasn't seen all of these, she has seen a lot of them. This is her favorite horror movie of 2022.
Is it really?
Yep. She loved Barbarian.
That's awesome.
Hey, Charlie the Corn, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, how are you?
Thanks for joining us. All right, we are on
Number 3.
our top 3. All right, so our next 3 are all the same.
Yeah.
So our number 3 is Nope.
Nope. I'll start because I had you were more willing to give this a try than I was.
Yep.
I actually found this at my friend's store, found it cheap enough. I bought it because Joe absolutely loved it. I had no desire to see this movie. I figured I would watch it eventually. It wasn't a priority for me. That just tells me how wrong I am. This movie is fantastic. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Corinne about it the other day because there are those flappy things.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them around here.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to her.
Around here too,
Yeah, the way it was in the film and how they were
important.
Yeah. how they were important. So this movie completely blew me away.
Hell yeah! People in the chat too. Child of the Corn and Verge, they both loved it.
Oh, Nope is so good.
It is.
I love the chimpanzee. I loved it.
The Gordy, I love that Gordy storyline so much.
And it's so it makes perfect sense when you get to the core of the story.
It really does. It all ties in.
It does. It's almost like Sick for me, because I wish I would have written something like this.
Hey, the original Hellraiser is on Pluto right now.
What's that?
Yeah, so the original Hellraiser is on Pluto right now.
Is it really?
Yeah, it started. Yeah, I feel the same way. It's like I wish I would love to write something like that.
Yeah, so creative.
I said it in my review, and I'll say it again now. It feels like an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yes, it does. Yep.
I don't get me wrong. I think Jordan Peele is a good filmmaker. I wasn't a huge fan of Get Out. I did like Us more, but Nope, I fucking loved.
Yep.
I love Nope. I think this is his best film yet.
Yep.
I hope he does
excited
more. Like,
to see what's going to happen.
I hope he does more now. This
yeah.
Is, exactly. This is the movie that gets me excited for his next one now.
Yep.
I love the characters. I love everything about this movie. I really do.
It's great. It's just absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't really know what else to say about it.
Yeah, no, that's good, because like I said, I want to talk a lot about our number one when we get to it. So.
All right.
Number three.
Number two.
Our number two, again, is the same. This was at one point going to be our number one favorite movie of the year.
And it is close for me. It's still close for me.
It is. Jason and I watched this literally like the minute it came out. And that is Rob Zombie's The Munsters.
I love this movie. This movie is so much nostalgia for me. And putting nostalgia aside, even though this was Rob Zombie's kind of passion project, his dream project, he knocked it out of the freaking park.
Without a doubt.
The set design are brilliant. The characters, the way they act, are brilliant. I don't really have a bad thing to say about it.
When we watched this, we were not even like a minute into the movie, and you and I both messaged each other the same thing. We both said, "I'm all in."
Yep.
It was like at the same time, not even planned. We were immediately pulled into it because of the colors. It's like watching a live action cartoon.
Yep.
It's just brilliantly done. And I love the fact that he wanted to shoot it in black and white. The studio said no, so he said, okay, well, I'm just going to up the colors then. Like, he wanted to really make it stand out, and he succeeded.
I cannot wait to watch this in black and white. I can't wait.
Exactly.
I don't know why we've waited this long, but I can't wait.
I know.
Probably because we can't get number one out of our heads.
Yeah, exactly. But The Munsters is another one. So I watched this with my wife, too, not long after we watched it. And I think this is probably her favorite movie of the year.
I don't doubt it.
She loved it. She cannot wait to watch it again. She always talks about it. She's recommended to everybody after we watched it. It's just so much fun. And again, it's another one, when it was, what? I have to say, it didn't get as much hate as I thought it was going to get.
No, but it did get a fair amount.
But it was very split. It was very divisive. And the people who were hating it, again, it's like I just want to ask them, do you not like having fun? Like, what? No, but it's like this is one of those movies that I get a little frustrated. It is, because it's like, this is just a fun time.
Yeah.
And the people who say, "Oh, I'm a big fan of the original Munsters, and this was nothing like it." Are you fucking kidding? Yes, it is. Rob Zombie is like the biggest fucking Munsters fan, and he literally he did it justice. So
am I. And I grew
what
up
are you
with
talking
Munsters.
about? I mean,
this is what you want if you want a Munsters fan movie.
We watched this after watching like the first 10 episodes of the original series of the Munsters. So we were watching it at the same time, and this is very much the Munsters. So
it even goes into a kind of TV part of it.
Exactly. So anybody saying
it's
otherwise,
everything is taken care of.
Yeah.
Everything is taken care of in this movie. It's really good.
We're going to be talking about this more in a positive spin.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about this more in another series, which you kind of just hinted at.
Yep.
And we're going to be talking about this more when we do our Rob Zombie ranking.
Hell yes.
For now, we'll just leave you with this. The Munsters is our second favorite horror movie of 2022.
Yep.
Second
a little
favorite.
bit more family friendly for a horror movie, but what's to say that horror can't be family friendly?
Well, it's like, it's like The Curse of Bridge Hollow, Hocus Pocus. Those are on here.
The Monster Squad.
Yep. Exactly.
You know,
So, guys, you know what that means, right?
number one.
Our number one favorite horror movie, and I'm going to say it right now to all you people who hate this movie. Not the people who don't like it, but the people who actively go out of their way to hate it. The people who actively go out of their way to insult those of us who love this. I'm going to say this right now. Fuck you. Halloween Ends is our number one favorite horror movie of 2022. And truthfully, I know I feel this way. I know you feel this way.
He's getting spicy.
It's a fucking masterpiece.
It is.
It's a masterpiece. And if you don't see it, you're too fucking stupid. Sorry. I'm going to be honest. We're doing a positive spin of this as well. We're doing a positive spin of this as well.
Yes.
And I say it in that video.
This gets a lot of hate.
And I'm talking about the people who specifically go out of their way to shit on it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it has to be your favorite. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm not even saying it, you know what I mean? I'm not even saying you have to like the movie. But I'm talking about the people who go out of their way to actively rip this apart.
This movie is brilliant.
And I'm talking about the people who actively sit there and say they hate it, but then they can't really sum up why they hate it. Or they can't talk about things that they completely missed because they weren't paying attention. These are the people I'm referring to. The people who watched it expecting it to be a mindless slasher film, and they didn't get what they wanted, so now they bitch and moan and talk about how it's the worst Halloween movie and Resurrection is a masterpiece compared to it and all that bullshit.
But all the other stuff aside, this is one of the smartest horror movies that I've seen in a very long time.
It is.
It's one of the deepest horror movies I've seen in a very long time. And whoever thought I would be saying that about a Halloween movie?
And that's just it. And I get, the people who are going to say, well, I don't want that from a Halloween movie. Well, guess what? You have all those others to watch.
Yeah.
So we got something different here, something that made a bold choice and had the balls to commit to it. Yep. And something that is so intelligent. If you don't understand it, fine. If you don't want to understand it, fine. But don't spend your time hating on it. Move on and watch one of the ones that you do like. That's my problem with the people who hate this, is that they talk about how much they hate it, but then they can't stop talking about it.
Like I said, this is a completely smart movie that gives you everything that I think that the people said that they wanted, unless they wanted 2 hours worth of.
I agree, Verge. It will absolutely age well.
Unless they wanted 2 hours worth of Jamie fighting Michael, which is boring. They're both, I mean, let's be honest, they're both kind of geriatric. So you got all out of them that you're going to get.
I said this in my positive spin too. And again, that's not going to come until October. So I don't mind saying it again right now. If you want to see Michael versus Jamie, fine. But you have that in the original Halloween. You have it in Halloween 2. You have it in H2O. You have it at the beginning of Resurrection. You have it in Rob Zombie's Halloween, even though it's a different Laurie, it's still Laurie versus Michael. You have it in Halloween 2018. And then you have it at the end of Halloween Ends in a very satisfying,
brutal,
in a very satisfying fashion.
Yeah.
So what more do you want from this Michael Laurie storyline that you haven't seen before? We've seen Laurie die and Michael live. We've seen Michael die and Laurie live. We've seen, you know what I mean? We've seen all different combinations here. So at this point, it's just doing the same thing over and over again. Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends could have easily just done that and been fan service.
Yep.
But instead, they did something different because we got that fan service time and time again. We don't need it again.
You still, I don't care what anybody says, you still get fan service in this.
You do.
I still think that the Jamie and Michael fight at the end is the most brutal that I've seen, and it is so satisfying.
It is.
And it's such a small part of the movie, but the rest of the movie is just.
People want to complain about Corey Cunningham, the Corey character. Oh, he should have been. He should have been in the other movies. Well, okay. Well, everybody loved like Jamie Lloyd when she just popped up in 4. Suddenly, Laurie had a daughter. Everybody was okay with it, but for some reason, they're not okay with a new character in this one who is extremely well developed. First of all, fucking brilliant performance. Again, you want to talk about Oscar-worthy performances. People can laugh all they want. I'm not exaggerating when I say Rowan Campbell had an Oscar-worthy performance as Corey Cunningham, because it's like he plays multiple characters in one.
Yep.
People wanted to see
that transition, that slow transition throughout the film.
Bingo.
That is just so well done, well constructed. People talk about the ridiculous dialogue is not ridiculous. Sometimes you wonder if people are really paying attention.
People want to see Michael and Laurie, but it's right in front of their eyes. Corey is Michael and Laurie. He is half Laurie as the victim. He's half Michael as the villain. And he is those two characters in one. And people just miss it.
They see what they want to see. That's all there is to it.
There are so many Easter eggs. There are so many homages. The kills are great. I don't know. I mean, again, what more do people want? The same thing over and over again. And if that's what they want, fine. But then just go watch one of the other ones. They're not gone just because this one has been released.
This isn't my favorite movie of this year. This is my favorite movie of a while. We've joked about this a lot in the Super Slash Bros. Stream. Yeah, we have.
The best horror movie of the last 20 years. This is the best horror movie of the last 20 years, in my opinion. It's
if it's not, it's pretty damn close.
The only other one that I can think of that comes close for me would be The Lords of Salem.
Yeah. Yep.
In the last 20 years. I mean, this is, in my opinion, this is the best horror movie in the last 20 years. And how many times have we watched it now? We keep watching it.
That's what I kept telling Corinne. I said, we saw this in the movie theater. Since, and I even said in my positive spin, and now it's gone up from there.
Yeah.
Because I have now watched it 5 times since I got it on Blu-ray a couple months ago.
Yep.
5 times. And talking about it right now makes me want to put it in and watch it again.
That's what I was going to say. When we were talking about the other day, we were both saying, oh, now we feel like watching it. It's just one of those movies. It's brilliant. It offers so much more than what people wanted. So maybe you didn't get exactly what you wanted, but it offered what you wanted and more. It's not like it offered what you wanted. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it didn't offer less than what you want. You wanted Michael and Laurie. You got that. But you also got this brilliant storytelling in the process.
Yep.
And you always bring this up. People talk about answers with Michael. Oh, does he kill because he's supernatural? Does he kill? Is he just a regular guy?
Like
why did he become evil? Why did he become a killer? Well, guess what? This movie makes an attempt to answer that, and you all didn't like it anyway.
Yep.
So
that's all people talk about. That's all people like us talk about. And they tried to give you a storyline to maybe answer some of those questions.
Yep.
And it still wasn't good enough.
I think it's interesting that is the most divisive. It literally has a 5.0 rating out of 10 on IMDb. So it's right in the middle. So all these people telling you that most people hate it and that we're in the minority, that's not the truth. It is literally split right down the middle.
They just whine louder.
There seem to be people who absolutely love it, like we do. And there are people who hate it as if it's the worst movie ever.
I do. I like Ends a lot better than 2018.
And honestly, 2018 is my least favorite in the new trilogy.
You know what? See, this is the thing. I'm glad you actually asked that question. I'm really glad, because this trilogy does not work without each one previously.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So you need that build up in 2018 to get the kills.
Mm-hmm.
You need the build up in kills in order to completely tear the town apart to get what you have in Halloween Ends.
But I will say this, and you and I talked about this the other day.
But
the difference is you definitely need 2018 for kills. With the way that the trilogy went, yes, you need the first 2 to go into Ends. But with the way Ends was written, they could have tweaked a few things, and it still could have worked as a standalone sequel to the original Halloween if they wanted to go that route.
Yeah. Yep.
Because there are just certain things that they could have just slightly changed, slightly taken out of the movie, and you could literally have made this a direct sequel to the original.
That's true. That's true.
and
I do believe that's true.
Because they do something different.
Thank you, Verge. I appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is a fantastic movie. I feel like we gush about it a lot, but it's just making up for the people that have called us stupid and ridiculous for actually liking a movie.
I will continue to praise this movie as
Yeah,
much as
me
I
too.
possibly can,
Me too.
because again, this is a movie that people actively go out of their way to hate. You know, like they'll post Facebook comments in groups just to talk about how much they hate Halloween
Yep.
Ends. They'll come on a video to say Halloween Ends is trash and a dumpster fire and
Yep.
all this stuff. It's like, we get it. You don't like it.
Right.
Go watch something you do like and promote that instead. Like, let us enjoy what we enjoy. But at the same time, don't sit there and trash the movie. And then when I try to have a respectful conversation, well, how come? Why don't you like it? Oh, there wasn't enough Michael in it. Okay, well, there's more Michael in it than there was in the original. Yeah, but it's not the same. Well, why? I mean, you like, at least make it make sense. You know what I mean?
That's what gets to me. What gets to me is the shallow answers.
That's the thing. There's like
Betty Crocker.
At least be intelligent about it.
Jamie Lee Curtis is Betty Crocker. Well, you know, they explain that to you in the beginning of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And if most people will actually try to better their life and go get help and go get therapy and all that. And that's exactly what happened, which makes sense from someone who has experienced that level of trauma.
Exactly.
It's just, I honestly think that a lot of people don't get it because they haven't had enough life experience, maybe.
Laurie, this is literally my favorite version of Laurie. Like, I love Laurie in this. I feel like she's very realistic in this one.
Yep. Almost like in the original.
Yep.
I mean, you get tired. I mean, it's neat to watch her sit there and fire off a bunch of rounds in a gun of mannequins and stuff like that. That was cool.
But we got it.
Yeah, and you got that also in H2O.
Exactly. We got that in H2O. We got it in 20.
That?
I know.
This takes you every place you want to go with a Halloween film. All three movies are a progression of what is to come.
And people give Corey a hard time. Oh, how did he get beat up by the band geeks? But then he didn't beat up Michael Myers. First of all, he doesn't beat up Michael Myers. He takes the
right.
Second of all, if you're paying attention, it's the point that he's not fighting back.
Right.
It's all building up in him because he is a good guy. They talk about this.
Exactly.
He is someone who is influenced from this outside evil, from the town, from this monster in the town that's been created.
Exactly.
And eventually he is literally and figuratively thrown over the edge to become what he becomes. So,
even though I don't like the mom in the movie, his mom in the movie, I mean, I think she does a good job. But, you know, she's kind of abrasive and all that. But she says one of the most poignant things in the film.
Mm-hmm.
That thing
to
where
Laurie?
she says, yeah.
To Laurie? Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
They needed another boogeyman.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But that's the truth. That's exactly what
is. It is. And that line alone should have explained everything that this movie was about.
You know, like I always say, you know, what if the original Halloween never named Michael Myers? What if he was just the Shape or the Boogeyman? And then you have a Halloween franchise where the killer in the Halloween franchise is just considered the Shape or the Boogeyman. You know? So then you have this movie because you're still getting the Shape in this movie.
Yep.
It's like you're still getting exactly what you want from a Halloween film, but you're letting your mind get like so nitpicky about one detail about it.
Yep.
Like, so you're basically saying you'd rather have a 65-year-old killer who can't do as much because he had the shit kicked out of him 4 years ago and has been living in a sewer, or have a 22, 23-year-old guy who can actually do some damage here, just like the age that Michael Myers was in the earlier films, you know?
Who's learning too.
I don't get it.
I said, we're doing a positive spin on this. It'll be in October, and a lot of what we said here will be in that positive spin.
It's a long one. It's a long one.
Yeah, mine's long too. And I think the reason why I'm so calm right now is because I exercised a lot of that in that positive spin.
Yeah.
It felt good. It did. I'm not going to lie.
I know. I get it.
It did. It felt really good. But this is just, I mean, what it boils down to is not the way people react or the way they are nasty with people who want to simply enjoy a film. It's the fact that it's such a good movie that it doesn't deserve the hate it's gotten.
And then one last thing, because I know we've been going on a long time here. Another thing that bugged us both, I know, is that Halloween Ends came out at the same time as Terrifier 2. When the two movies came out, hold on, I'm reading this. So you love the film the most because it dives more into the overall essence of evil. I dig your guys' opinion. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate that. And like I said, I have no problem, Child, with people not
I like
liking it as
that.
much
I
as
like
us.
that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's the people who who actively hate it just for the
Yeah.
sake of hating it. Like,
Right.
again, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. We're not saying you have to love it
Yeah.
as much as we do or anything like that, or even like it. It's just the fact that people go out of their way to purposely hate it. And
And
what
then make up silly reasons.
I was getting at is that, this movie was released the same time as Terrifier 2. Now,
Yeah.
people were literally calling Terrifier 2 the greatest horror movie of the year, of the last decade, of all this stuff, the greatest slasher movie in the longest time. And meanwhile, they were shitting all over Halloween Ends.
Yep.
So no, that's, if they prefer one over the other, fine. But there's no way you can
Right.
say Halloween Ends is a dumpster fire and
Yeah.
Terrifier 2 is a masterpiece. I'm sorry, there's no way around it. There's no way. There is no inconceivable way you can say that, because
Well, a lot of people need something to compare. They're not happy unless they're comparing something,
but
which is
it
why
just-
people say that Resurrection is now a masterpiece compared to Halloween Ends.
but look how stupid listen to how stupid that sounds.
Right.
Like,
Because the week before they just did a rant on how bad Resurrection was.
it just proves to you that all they really want is like a ton of kills,
Yeah.
and no real logic, like Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, a lot of those same people hated Halloween Kills because it was too many kills, and they were like, Michael Myers doesn't kill that much. Like, are you fucking kidding?
Yeah. You just can't please people. That's all there is to it.
People were literally saying Michael became Jason Voorhees in Halloween Kills, and that's not what Michael does. He stalks, and he only has a smaller body count in his movies. Why is he killing so much? Halloween Ends comes around. Well, Michael didn't kill enough. Oh my God! Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Please. I mean, yeah. I just wish, if you don't like the movie, that's fine. I just wish that the hate wasn't so mean. You know what I mean?
And also, people don't. There are films right out there, whether maybe not horror, but other films that I think are brilliant films, but I don't necessarily like that much. But I can acknowledge the fact that they are brilliant films.
I agree with you. X was on our list. X was towards the bottom, but I appreciate the fact that you loved X. I do. Now there's Craig.
So yeah, there are films that
Wait.
I consider brilliant that I don't necessarily like, but I can acknowledge that they're a brilliant film and that they're well made and this and that. Okay.
Right.
The problem I have is with Halloween Ends, because people don't like it or it's not their favorite Halloween, it sucks.
It's a dumpster fire.
I hate that. I hate that mentality. It just shows the way people are so self-absorbed. Like, I don't like it, so that means it must be a bad film. Maybe you just don't like it, but can you at least acknowledge what they tried to do? Can you at least acknowledge that this is a well-made movie, that they did things that other movies weren't trying to do, that, you might not personally consider it a personal favorite masterpiece, but there are things that were done that you could consider it a brilliant film. People refuse to do that.
Smile.
And that is what frustrates me.
Smile, for example. I was not a fan of Smile. You were not a fan of Smile. Was it made well? I think so.
Well, Pearl is a better example for me.
Well, yeah.
Because I think Pearl is a really well-made movie.
It is.
I really do. And there's a lot in there that it could have been a really, not that it's not a really good movie, but it could have been a movie that I liked a lot more.
It had the most potential.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Terrifier 2 had the most potential too.
And I can acknowledge, yeah, exactly. Like, I can acknowledge the stuff that's in there that has that there is that potential, and there is that stuff that I love about it. With Halloween Ends, it's like, I wanted this and I didn't get it, so I hate it.
Actually, I watched that. I watched The Watcher, or Watcher. I watched it last week, And I did like it. I thought it was a really well-made film. I just wanted more out of it. It didn't feel like enough happened in the film for me for it to be um, what's the word I'm looking for? For it to be one of my top films of last year.
Yeah.
I'd seen it before, but it's really well made. I'll give it that. It's really well made. It's well acted. It just didn't do enough for me. It was just not enough for me. I guess that's best as I could do it. Joe hasn't seen it yet. I'm sure he'll get around to seeing it.
I'm not in a rush.
No. I mean, it's just, yeah, not enough happens in it for me.
Yeah, so to summarize, our number one favorite horror movie of 2022 is Halloween Ends.
Bam.
Anything else you want to say before we wrap up here?
No, actually, I think we pretty much said it all.
We have been looking forward to this stream for a while. So this was a lot of fun. Look, we went on 3.5 hours here. I was not expecting it to be this long. But
no, that's for sure, especially since we had like half of the same picks.
Yeah.
So,
but again, you know, I'll say it again. I think 2022 was the best year in horror since the 80s. I truly do.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm looking forward to actually watching some of the stuff that I wasn't able to, we weren't able to cover.
Me too.
Because a lot of the movies that we did talk about are in the bottom half of the 90 some horror movies that came out last year. Now I'm sure I'm not going to agree with a majority of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm curious to find out what other people did like about them.
My favorite franchise is Phantasm.
That's close. It's always been a toss up between that and Friday the 13th for me. I think Phantasm is probably the most consistent.
It is. I mean, it's definitely more consistent than Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking slasher franchises, I would say Friday the 13th is probably. But I do love the Scream franchise. Very consistent.
Yeah.
Phantasm is my favorite overall.
Phantasm is such an amazing story when you watch it all together.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I listened to Siskel and Ebert talk about, there were a few movies that I really wanted to hear them talk about last night. Mm-hmm. Magic was one of them. Phantasm was another. And what was the other one? Shoot. You see, now I can't remember. I'm sure I will.
It was in our ranking. I had Hellraiser at number 5. Jason had it at number 4.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
We loved Hellraiser 2022.
Yeah. But those were the ones, and I like how they said that Phantasm was very messy. I was just like, okay.
The thing with Phantasm is it benefits from being like that because it adds to that dream.
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's supposed to give you a feeling of disorientation because that's the way the film is designed. It's
Craig, Monsters was number 2 for both of us.
Yeah, love the Monsters. Nope was number 3. Hellraiser was 4 for me, 5 for Joe. Barbarian was number 4 for you, I believe, Joe.
Yep.
It was number 11 for me.
You can always go back and watch.
Yeah.
They can skim through if they want to.
Yeah. We had a lot of the same picks. But
anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you everybody in the chat for joining us.
Yeah, it was fun.
This was a lot of fun. Like I said, we've been really anticipating this.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Not sure what we're gonna do for our next one, but we got a ton of ideas. So
yeah.
Yeah, we got a ton of ideas for new streams. We got some new challenges coming up soon.
Yep.
Plenty of stuff coming up. Child, right now I am more excited for Scream. I'm super excited for Evil Dead. Don't get me wrong. I love Evil Dead. But Scream is my most anticipated horror movie of the year right now.
Where would Derek Carr play this year? He's going to play with himself.
Derek Carr. Where was I reading? Where he was probably going to end up.
Joke.
I don't remember.
I don't know. He's not going back to the Raiders, and now
Okay, Lamar is
now
going.
Brady's retired.
Lamar is going to the Falcons. Watch.
Yeah, I kind of see the writing's on the wall. It
Mhm.
is. So, oh well.
Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders.
Maybe.
Sure.
We'll see.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you
guys.
guys. Appreciate it. See you later.
See you later.